sent a reminder 15 minutes ago to see where are we going to meet, if in Hangout or Discord. So
Okay, well in the future it's just perfectly fine to just choose one. I'm open to either Discord or Hangout.
okay, I just let you know where
Sorry. All right, sorry about that. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, I have.
All right, so I'm just trying to get it so I can share my screen.
Okay.
Although I don't know if this is gonna work, but I'm gonna try it. So. Okay. So now I think we're pretty much ready to move forward with the Ativity team session. So we are ready to do roles. So facilitator, LD facilitator, we need note taking, timekeeping, and eventually we'll do all the other roles that we can see.
I can do the timekeeping.
And we also could do video indexing as well. So timekeeping is no.
Okay.
It's gone. The
Does
sharing.
someone want to help note take?
Oh, now it's there.
Okay. Does anyone want to help with note taking? Hey Abdul, can you delete your session notes if it's not the correct notes in the Ativity team? Abdul, you there?
Yeah, Jay, I'm here.
Can you please delete your post in the Discord that has this?
Okay. I
session
just
note
deleted
if it's not correct. Yeah, thank you.
it.
Okay, so video indexing.
So Jay, can I help on video indexing?
Yes, you please. Do you want to do video indexing?
Yes, I can do that.
All right, so we are now ready to do our check-ins. Who wants to start with check-ins? Okay, I guess I'll start. Who's gonna help with notes? Who's checking notes? Abdul, a little bit. Can someone help Abdul with notes?
Yeah, Jay.
I will help.
Okay, cool. All right, so I guess I'll take notes for myself. I'm like a 2.23, 2.3, and I'm pretty overwhelmed with everything because it's just been a long week and a long month. But I've been working really hard on the recruitment, which is still a lot more to go. I've been working hard on some of the finances and taxes, also getting the Canopy team set up, which is exciting. Yeah, check. Hanel, do you want to check in?
Cherry, I can hear you.
Oh, sorry, you can't hear me?
Yes, now I can hear
Is that
you.
better? All right. Hanel, do you want to check in?
I already did. Sorry.
Did anyone hear her check in?
Let me see.
Did anyone hear Hanel check in?
Check in.
Yeah, I can hear. Hanel.
We can
Yes?
hear you, Hanel.
Okay.
We check in verbally.
Oh, okay. That's true.
We're human beings.
7 right now.
Yeah.
I'm 7 right now, even though um, it has been a little bit hard to get focused on my priorities and responsibilities. But I think that finally we are getting there, and that's why I'm 7.
Cool. Tell me, Tope.
I'm like a 4, 3.5. It's currently like 2:24 a.m. Been working, assisting the new recruits. Been bit somehow working, scheduling a bit tight, scheduling, and this is a new arrangement, so it's looking somehow still looking a bit strange having an activity main session. But I'm looking forward to how the session will go. Check.
Great. Okay. So Abdul, you want to check in? Abdul, are you there?
I think we lost her.
Oh. That's unfortunate. All right. So next is going over our desired outcomes and topic review. So I think really like team building, getting all that set up is good. So does anyone have any topics?
Sorry, what was that?
We're doing topics.
I think you're covering the microphone, Jay, because it's like blurred, like something like that.
Yeah, it's like coming and going, coming, going.
I'm back. My electricity was gone.
All right, can you check in?
Yeah, I'm pretty good today, like 6.5. It's 7:30 a.m. right now. I really want to move forward for my positions, so I'm really excited to take responsibility and priorities from this sessions and also get some training if possible. So that's my say. Thank you.
Cool. All right, so how does my voice sound now? Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Sorry, I
great.
didn't hear you.
So you guys can't hear me right now?
Yes.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yes, I can hear you right now.
Are you guys sure? Let me try. I could try one other thing.
Jay, are you recording your screen?
Yeah. Yes, I am.
So do you want me to keep recording or?
It's up to you. We can have as many recordings as you want. So, are you guys able to hear me now?
Yeah, Jay, it's better.
I will cancel.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so we are doing our desired outcomes and topics. So, does anyone have any topics for the session?
Yes, I have uh, one thing that it was pending from my JLO team stage 5 was the responsibilities 9 labels and badges. And
Can you guys hear me?
yes, I can hear you.
echoing.
Yeah, there's definitely some echo. I'm having a lot of trouble, but doing my best. All right, so the bottom line here is that you can only do one at a time.
Yes,
So labels and badges is fine. We can prioritize that.
yes.
God, what's going on?
So with that, I will close stage 5
No,
onboarding.
no. How many responsibilities are there for stage 5?
9 and 10,
And what are we going to focus on today?
labels and badges.
And so, what responsibility number is that?
Get verified.
What responsibility is level and badges? What responsibility number is it?
Number 9,
And how many are there total?
10,
Okay, so how many are there left after you complete labels and badges?
1.
Okay, so will you be done after today?
No.
No. Thank you. All right, any other topics?
Yeah, Jay, quick overview, quick discussion about all steps for the new recruitments. I like as a new here right now, and I want to all steps to know. So it will help me to be move forward. I think.
Did anyone understand that?
No, sorry.
Jay, I just want to know the step of the recruitment process. As a
Recruitment process?
yes,
What are you doing for the recruitment process?
like I'm not clear in which stage I'm in. So
Well, I want you to focus on the deputy position first. So basically, the direction we're moving right now is that when we hire new people into a team like the Ativity team or Canopy, whatever, you're not gonna do stage 5, right? You're just
okay,
gonna focus on your position training, right? Because the stage 5 is really training for Jello team, but it's like we're not doing Jello team, we're doing Ativity team, we're doing the deputy position.
okay. So as a deputy position, so what will be my role? So I want to really want to know that. So we can discuss it.
Okay, so you want to go over the deputy position role?
Yes.
Cool. All right, so that's a good topic. And we do have training on that for audio. We just don't really have video, but we're doing the video today. So that will be excellent.
Jay, I'm on the video indexing here, but I don't get the link of the video.
Okay, so the way you get the video is very simple. You go to YouTube, you search for the Unity Network and filter for channel, and then you click on that, and then it should show you the video. And you can check to make sure it's working and make sure you can hear us and everything. And that's also something we should put on our work priorities is to update the video indexer position to clearly show how to verify video. Cool. All right. Other topics.
I want to clarify the check-ins.
Yes, that's a great one. So that would be part of the deputy position role. So this is
Yes.
the
I want to clarify because
work
I'm a little bit
scheduling
confused.
check-in criteria. Great.
Schedule now, but I think it's check-in. And let's see. Are we going to work on the deputy training document? Not today.
Well, we're gonna go over it as part of the deputy position role and responsibilities and questions.
Oh, okay. We can go over there. And another topic that I want to clarify is the number of hours that I have to work, and if I don't do the check-ins, if uh, those hours are going to be recognized. It's part of the check-in.
I guess I don't understand. So what is the question? So this is just a question about the deputy position role?
Yes, about the deputy position role.
Okay, so
I want to clarify the commitment.
Hours, etc. Okay, we'll figure that out. I mean, I don't know exactly what topic that is, but it just sounds like a question. So we'll just answer all the questions that people have when we get to that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
Video trainings during VA session. I'm a little bit confused about to schedule a VA session where I'm allowed to watch videos. I'm a little bit lost there.
That's not a question, right? Was that a question or not? I don't know, but that just sounds like another question.
Yes, it was a question.
Okay, I didn't really get the question, but anyways, let's just note here that we have a bunch of questions. We have clarification coming hours. We have questions on VA video watching. So anyways, we can go to the questions when we get there. Okay.
Okay.
Cool. Any other specific topics? Like we obviously have the deputy position role.
What? And we can go for strike and policy tracking, I think. Policy tracking and strike a little bit.
Okay, so policy tracking and strikes. Policy tracking and strikes. Yeah. We can go over that. I had a few goals there to do. Make sure we have it all clear. That sounds good. That probably shouldn't take too long.
Okay.
Okay. Other topics?
For me, that's it.
Yeah, it's okay from my side right now.
So, one topic I want to go for is overall priority policies that we need to do training on um, for new recruits and really everyone.
40 minutes now.
And yeah, we're at 40 minutes, huh? We also need to go over the budget, which is important.
Okay.
And then I also want to go over scheduling.
Okay.
And then if we have time, it would be good to go over more recruitment. So let's put that last. So recruitment. Oh yeah, we already have that on there. Recruitment, for us and stage 5, etc., etc. All right. So that's what I have here. Is basically we have priority policies, 5 minutes. We've got deputy role and position. That's 20 to 45 minutes. That's going to be the primary chunk. The budget probably be 10 minutes. Scheduling also 10 minutes or so. Policies, tracking, and strikes 10 to 15 minutes. Labels and badges 5 to 10 minutes. So there's a lot here.
Yes.
Let's see. That will take us. It's gonna probably be about 2 hours, like an hour and a half to 2 hours. So it would be at least an hour and a half more, which would be a 2-hour meeting, and it could easily go to 3 hours. So, what is everyone okay with that, or do you guys? Does this look
I'm
right?
okay.
Yeah, they think we can move.
Okay,
Yes.
just let us know if you need to check out. But any other topics, priorities, desired outcomes? For me, a desired outcome would be to get an activity team budget approved. Would be good. Cool. All right. Any objections to our topics?
No.
No, I don't have any.
Cool. All right. So I think we are ready to get started with our first topic, which is priority policies. So for the priority policies, we need to create a document. And then I have a bunch of information that we want to put in the document. But let's get started here. So basically, we've been having a lot, there's always been a lot of problem with workers having trouble with certain policies, and that's obviously continuing. And so I've just wrote down some of the most top priority policies. This is not all of them, but this is at least a start. So the idea here would be to create a document, and then to index this information into the document. I would say overall, the name of the document would be something like, most important worker policies that are typically ignored or broken. So as we go along and we have policies that are being broken or ignored a lot, we want to make sure they're listed here, and that this should be a training that we go through for all new workers very, very early. So we want to make sure we're doing the video indexing on this. Okay, Abdul, do you know how to do that? I guess we lost it. So the first is public accountability, all communications being public, no private communications. Are there any questions about that policy?
Okay,
Public
perfect.
accountability, where you talk everything on Discord.
Yes. So all of our Discord channels
Okay,
are open, public, and accessible to anyone across the world
okay.
in real
Okay.
time. Yeah?
About the priority policy, you mentioned that create a document. So uh, we need to create a document for priority policies.
Yes.
Is it me?
Can you do that?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay, I'm putting you down. Abdul, thank you. And can you index it too?
Yes, I can also do
Great. And
that.
then also, we want to do the video indexing. We want to link the video at the correct time and everything, okay?
Okay.
All right. So, any questions on the public accountability in using the Discord channels?
No,
And obviously, you can use the email. You can also do email, but we want to try to stay away from Skype unless it's absolutely necessary. Strikes and policy tracking, and the reason for Skype is because it's not publicly accountable in real time. It is eventually, but just not in real time. Strikes and policy tracking. You are required to follow all policies regardless if you know the policies or not. We use strikes and policy tracking to help educate and teach people about the policies. When you are told that you have a strike or policy tracking, you must go to the Discord channel and state what your policy tracking or strike is, and then add up all your strikes and policy tracking so that you have a running total. So everyone's responsible to track all of their own strikes and policy. Okay? Any questions on that one?
no.
All right. So then we have assigned work and training. So no one should be working on anything that they have not been assigned. If you do, it's not the end of the world or anything, but it's just against policy. Almost all work, especially at the beginning, is assigned as a buddy team work. So everyone should be scheduling buddy teams and doing buddy team sessions, right? I think that there's just a lot of people who don't quite understand that, and in my perspective, it would make a lot of sense, especially with new recruits, to require all videos and training to be done in buddy teams and done as teams, so people get used to working in buddy teams, because that would help a lot. You should be working on one single responsibility at a time, and that includes the trainings, etc. So anytime you're trying to do multiple trainings at the same time, that is against policy. So one single training at a time, then you get verified or approved on that training, and then you go on to the next one. So are there any questions about the assigned at work or training? So there's no questions, is that correct?
No.
Okay. So then for self-driven work is not assigned work, right? So all self-driven work is obviously assigned work, because if you're not assigned work, you shouldn't be working on it at all, right? But self-driven work is something you do on your own time, as opposed to assigned work, what you do during a buddy team.
Okay. A self-driven work would be watching videos?
No.
No. Okay.
Self-driven work can be anything. It's just self-driven, just like anything can be assigned work, right? So we can have a video that is self-driven video watching, and we can have a video that's assigned that's for a buddy team watching. Does that make sense?
Okay, so it is a self-driven work, watching video for training.
No. Self-driven work is a type of work, not it has nothing to do with whether it's a video or not, or whether it's training or not.
Okay.
Okay, so any work can be assigned for normal buddy team real-time sessions, or it can be assigned for self-driven work to do doing anytime, right? So that's the difference. What the definition of self-driven work is, that it is not just assigned work, but it's actually can be done at any time. because it's self-driven. You do it yourself on your own time, whenever you want to do it. Right? So it doesn't matter what type of work it is, whether it's a video or whether it's a spreadsheet or whether it's a task or a responsibility or position or project, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The point is that it's self-driven work as opposed to just assigned work.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
So if you ever are not sure about what you should be doing, you should be communicating about it. In fact, anything and everything you do, you should be communicating about your work. So even if you're doing self-driven work, you still want to be communicating about it. So self-driven work, when you are assigned self-driven work, you should know. This is not something that just happens, that you just happen to have self-driven work. It's like, if you're not sure if it's self-driven work, you ask. It's perfectly fine for us to imply self-driven work, but you should still be asking. But there's a workaround on that. We'll tell you what it is. So typically this is just one responsibility at a time, especially near the beginning when you first start, right? And you can increase to more self-driven responsibilities over time.
Okay.
You should never be working on anything without the team knowing, right? So basically, anytime you do work, you let the team know. Right? It's just really simple. You jump on Discord and be like, hey, I'm watching this video. Hey, I'm doing this. Hey, I'm working on stage 5. Hey, I'm working on this responsibility. Like, everyone should always know what everyone else is working on to the best extent possible if it's a general team responsibility and we're all working on it together, especially new recruits. Right? So there's no need for executives to be telling general workers every single little detail because they don't even know about what it is, right? So you, like, if you're working as a normal worker, you don't need to notify the new recruits about everything you're doing, right? But as a new recruit, the new recruits need to be notifying each other and the whole team about what they're doing. Does that make sense?
Okay.
So if you are doing self-driven work, you let everybody know and you only focus on one responsibility, the one responsibility that you're prioritizing. Like, it physically is not possible to work on more than one thing at a time. Like, you can work on one thing for 5, 10, 20 minutes, and then you can switch to another thing and work on another responsibility for 10, 20 minutes. But during that time, you can't physically be working on multiple responsibilities at the same time. It's very, very rare that the same work can achieve separate, totally separate, distinct objectives, right? So one responsibility at a time. It is the most efficient, best way to get work completed properly. Technically speaking, you should technically speaking, under our policies, you should be jumping on Hangout or Discord audio for self-driven work sessions. So there is such a thing as a self-driven work session policies, right? And there's a reason why people would be jumping on Discord, which involves, because our Discord is a public space where people can communicating, and there should be someone who is working there for all times. So eventually, when we're going 24 hours a day, we have people working around the clock. There's always supposed to be
Yes.
somebody on the Discord so that people can come and communicate with us, like an open phone channel, right? But anyways, for
Yes.
now, we're not really worried about that. That comes a little bit later, like stage level 4. When we actually have a public facing interaction. Like, we don't need random new people who have no idea what's going on to be a public
Could you please give
access.
one example of self-driven work, for example?
Well, that's the whole point, is that I shouldn't have to give an example, because self-driven work is not a type, it isn't a specific responsibility, it is a adjective. It's a type of work. Anything can be self-driven work, anything at all, right? So I could talk about whatever position. So you have the deputy position, you've got recruitment position, you've got all the different positions, right? You had another example could be recruitment responsibilities, right? Or scheduling responsibilities, or
Okay.
tasks like budget tasks, of like doing accounting tasks, right? So you have all the tasks, all the responsibilities, everything. It doesn't matter what responsibility or task or position or anything that it is. All of those can exist, and they cannot be assigned to you. If you are not assigned a
Oh,
responsibility, you shouldn't be working on it, correct?
okay.
Right? Does that make
Yeah.
sense? Yeah. So it's just like,
Yes.
so you have work, All different types of work, responsibilities, positions, tasks. If they're not assigned to you, you shouldn't be working on them. If you work on them, you break policy. It's not the end of the world, but you do policy tracking. It's like, oh, I worked on something I wasn't supposed to. You know, oh no, whatever. So you still do policy tracking. You still have to track your hours. That's something we need to do here, tracking hours. But then if we assign you task responsibilities, then those become assigned responsibilities and tasks, right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the three categories are unassigned responsibilities and work. So you have unassigned work, you've got assigned work, and then you've got self-driven work. That makes sense?
Yes.
So vocabulary for unassigned, assigned, and self-driven work. So unassigned work is responsibilities, tasks, projects, responsibilities, tasks that are not assigned to you and you should not be working on them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Then you have assigned work. Are projects, responsibilities, and tasks that are assigned to you and you should prioritize them to work during buddy team work sessions. Right?
Right.
Okay. So that's like, and this is real time, right? The whole idea is that we're doing real time work. That is the purpose of hiring everybody. Is to do real time work together as a team, as human beings. We're not all robots. We're not all machines. We do short work sessions. We don't need to be working endlessly. And then the last one is self-driven work. Is our projects, responsibilities, and tasks that are assigned to you, and you prioritize them to work anytime that you want, including during, including on your own or during VA sessions. You should still notify and keep the team updated. Okay. So again, the self-driven work is the opposite of unassigned work. Right? Assigned work, by definition, could be something that you're assigned to do, but you don't even know how to do it. Right? Like, no one's expected to just magically be able to do stage 5. That is something you do together in buddy teams to achieve your goals.
Okay.
And each responsibility involves a check-in and communication and review and verification, right? That's all done as a team, not in some machine-driven video world where you're never interacting with a human. Like, that's just not the idea at all.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So any questions about the vocabulary for unassigned, assigned, and self-driven work?
Hello, Jay.
Yeah.
So, self-driven responsibilities are tasks that one can actually do without supervision.
I mean, I don't necessarily think that supervision is it all should be done with public accountability. So whether you call public accountability supervision or not, I don't really care. But the point is that you can do it on your own, but everyone should still know you're doing it, and it should still be public and accountable and open and transparent. It's just done on your own time. You can do it whenever you want to, or you can do it during a VA session if it is, open work time and we don't have anything else to focus on together, right? So there are lots of buddy team sessions where you can each be working on separate responsibilities during the buddy team session. Right? That's a self-driven responsibility that can be worked on during a buddy team session. right? So the main issue, the main thing about self-driven work is that you actually know how to do it. Right? You can't do self-driven work without being able to do it, without being able to do the work.
Yeah.
That sort of makes sense. Whereas assigned work, you can be assigned work. For example, we've assigned Abdul with the entirety of the deputy position. Right? Does he know how to do even 5% of it? No. But it's all assigned to him. He's responsible for the entire deputy position, and he's supposed to do all of it. And if he doesn't do it, it'll look bad on him and it'll reflect on his ranking and everything, right? And his evaluations. But are we expecting him to be able to do it all on his own? No. Just because it's assigned doesn't mean you can just magically do it, right? That's what buddy teams are for, and teamwork and training and collaboration, organizing, all of it, right? Self-driven work is when you actually know how to do it. Okay?
Okay.
Cool.
Okay.
The more you get involved with buddy teams and work sessions and collaboration and BA sessions, the more you're going to learn and the more self-driven work you're going to have. If you don't schedule and you don't go to a buddy team and you don't get on the hangout with another person to collaborate, you are never going to learn your work to ever be able to do it on your own. Period. Right? There's no way to just magically learn everything without ever communicating. So every single responsibility training, even if there's a video involved in it, you watch the video for 1 hour, 2 hours, whatever, and then you get on a review and you go over it with a human being as a team to review and verify and answer questions and collaborate and practice and actually start doing the work together before you would ever do it on your own. Right? Like
Hello,
the video training is just one tool to help save a little time, right? It doesn't in any way take out the human element of teamwork.
we're on bottom of the hours.
What?
Yeah, it's 1 hour already completed.
Okay, well, let's finish this because we're doing the video here, and I want to make sure that this video is completed so that people can watch this and understand the most important policies that are typically ignored or broken by new recruits. Okay?
Okay.
Cool.
And Jay, the self-driven responsibilities have outputs. Does it necessarily mean there must be an output for every self-driven responsibility?
Correct. There it is not expectation of output for self-driven work. In fact, self-driven work is usually not expecting to produce output, and that's where buddy teams come in, because that's where you verify everything and review it all within buddy teams, which is where you actually typically get output, right? So also output can become bonuses, right? So if you're doing the work and you actually create output, you can track output hours separate from any normal hours, and output hours are considered bonuses. You can get bonuses for output hours.
Okay.
So any other questions about the vocabulary for unassigned, assigned, and self-driven work?
No, I don't have any other question.
Okay, so the last set of policies is really just on tracking hours, right? So everyone is required, I guess it's better to say, all workers are required to track all hours, right? This includes on your POP and then your work report when you have it. All right, so this includes obviously meetings, right? It includes communications, email, Discord, Skype. It includes reading documents. It includes filling out forms. It includes, researching websites and anything or everything that in any way connects or involves FQN, community network. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? So if you, for example, spend, 5 minutes
Okay.
here or 5 minutes there on Skype or Discord, then you can average, or not average, you can estimate the total time you spent doing communications for the week. For example, it could be like, all right, I spent 2.5 hours on Discord or Skype communicating, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 10 minutes here, right? So the idea is that you don't need to track it exactly, you just need to estimate. So overall, hours can be estimated to the nearest, 0. 0.5 hours. Like you don't even need to track minutes at all. We don't pay people hourly, we pay people by stipend, right? So technically we pay people based on stipends. And so if you are close to your budgeted hours for the month, let's say, whatever, 90%, then you get your entire stipend, right? So if you work over, then you get your entire stipend, right? And you get equity and back pay benefits, and ownership shares in the company, in the business, right? Side of the network. Right?
Okay.
So,
Can you
well, here, let
continue?
me just finish. So basically, in relationship to your hours, the purpose of tracking hours is for equity. The purpose of tracking hours is to distribute equity ownership. Okay?
Okay.
Yes. Abdul,
The recording screen is not working well.
what do you
Can you
mean?
show a screen? Like your screen not moving on the videos.
Oh, that's just because we went down a few bit. There. Is that better?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. So, um, the last part is simply that new workers, especially, are given, 5 to 10 hours in what's called the time budget. So that simply just means that when we hire someone, we're not expecting them to just magically be able to work 30 hours a week and get any effective work done. I mean, it takes time to learn the responsibilities and actually do the work properly, right? So there's no problem working 30 hours a week, but you actually need to know what you're doing, right? If you know what you're doing, you can work as much time as you want. So you check in every 5 to 10 hours so that everybody knows how many hours you've been working. Right? So you simply just check in, like on Discord or wherever, after working 5 to 10 hours in a week. Okay? Does that make sense? And it should be very simple. It's like, oh, I probably worked over 5 hours or maybe 10 hours or whatever. Like, you know, everybody, I'm in stage 5. I'm working, probably 7 hours. I'm just letting you guys know, and this is what my output for that time. Okay? Good to let the team know what you have accomplished, right? So the problem comes in where you've worked like 30 hours and everyone thought you worked 5 hours. So that would be like, 6 times more work than we even thought you were working, and no one even knew you were doing any work, and no one had any idea what you were doing. And then everyone's like, oh my God, how did you work 30 hours? What happened? And this has happened many, many, many times before. And it's very easy to tell within 1 or 2 minutes, what did you accomplish during that time? Oh, I don't know. I didn't accomplish hardly anything. And then you look at the work report and it's just like, oh, I worked 4 hours every day and I did nothing, right? It's just like, that's ridiculous, right? So that happens all the time with us, right? And then There's people who it's totally the opposite. Oh, I worked 30 hours. Okay, what'd you do? Oh, well, I completed my stage 5 responsibility 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I did canopy training. I did, my pop. I did this. I did that. I did this. And it's just like, oh, well, of course you worked more than 30 hours. You accomplished all of this amazing work, right? And then it's like, okay, moving on. You still broke the policy. You were supposed to check in regularly every 5 to 10 hours, but we can easily verify that you were actually working. But the reason why we verify that people are working is because over and over and over again, it happens where people have no idea what they're doing and they do not achieve anything and they take all this time up and it just costs us thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for no output and no purpose whatsoever. So that's why we ask people to check in every 5 to 10 hours, especially at the beginning when they're first starting. Okay? Are there any
Okay.
questions about tracking hours, self, or anything else?
Yeah, Jay.
Yeah.
There's this thing that has been coming up. So we schedule VA sessions with you or Canopy. Then we are expected to check in every, because I see you tell Hanel every 15 minutes, every 20 minutes, we have to check in. Now, if at the end of like 2 hours of checking in, you finally say, oh, you will not be available for the VA session, the time that we have spent checking in, are we going to track it? Because
Thank you for that.
there's actually no output. There is actually no work done
Okay, so I don't think this
other
has.
than just
I don't think this
other than
has.
just checking in.
Okay, so I don't think this really has to do with. Like I mean, basically we covered it here. Anytime you're communicating on Discord, you can track those hours. So the question is, how long does it take
Okay,
you to go
okay,
on
okay.
to Discord, and to check in and say, hey, let's have a meeting at the top of the hour? Like, if that took you 5 minutes, that's about 5 minutes of work. Does that make sense?
Okay, okay.
Does that make sense, Tommy Toby?
So that will be 5 minutes, but the waiting is not being recognized.
What waiting?
The waiting for you to schedule a VA session.
What do you mean waiting for me? There's nothing. There's no waiting for me. What does that mean?
Oh well, waiting for the person where the the person that we are T session or the main session or the
I mean, I've never heard
Well,
of such a thing
personally,
before. I mean, the idea that you would be paid to
I,
sit around and wait, that doesn't make any
okay.
sense. What does that even mean? I don't get what that is.
Okay, so what she's trying to say, Jay, is now let me use myself as an example. I'm scheduled for Canopy Phoenix H1 to H3. I come in and I say, oh, Jay, are you available? You say, hold on a bit. Okay. Come in again maybe after another 30 minutes. Jay, are you ready now? Are you now available for the session? Oh, you say no. Give me some few minutes.
When
And
do I ever say that though? Tell me where I say that. I want an example because I never ever say anything like that. I don't remember saying that.
maybe that's not the language you use, but that's the impression. Okay, so you say, okay, I'll be so maybe after an hour, you now say, oh, you just did a lot of work and you don't think the session will hold. Are we now going to track that 1 hour where we have waiting for you to conclude with whatever you were
No,
doing at that particular time?
nobody should be waiting for me. I don't understand the idea of waiting for
So,
me.
because now when you say you come to VA sessions with it's now this is my own suggestion. Instead of waiting around, maybe when we schedule for you with you for those particular periods, we should have something like you have always said. We should have something we are doing so that we will not just wait around and at the end of the day the session does not hold. The time has been spent. Take for instance, I wake up in the middle of the night because I have a VA session with you for 3 hours, and I wait for 2 hours, and I go back to sleep, and it's not recorded. It's like wasted effort. So maybe at that particular time, I come in with something I should be doing, and I'm doing it at that particular time. Even if the session does not hold, it gets recorded that, oh, at least I did something. I have an output. Because just doing reminders, 1 minute, 2 minutes, at the end of the day, might not end up to the 2 hours that I've spent waiting and not doing anything. So that's what I'm looking at when it comes to checking in and tracking hours and also scheduling. Those are the things I'm looking at when we talk about it.
Okay, so I mean, bottom line, I think you guys are confusing a lot of different things, but everybody's required to schedule a full schedule with the Gela team for every single week, 1 to 2 weeks. Everyone's required to have a schedule. Like so, for example, Temi Tope, how many? What is your commitment? How many buddy team scheduled sessions are you supposed to have per week? Temi Tope.
I'm supposed to have a minimum of five.
Okay, so how many
That's
do you
standard.
currently have scheduled for this week?
I already have for this week. I did five with you and five with the other team members. 10.
Okay, so if I go to the to the buddy team schedule upcoming list of buddy team scheduled sessions, it will show you have 5 sessions for this week.
It is not there because none of those sessions were accepted. None of
By
them
who?
were concluded. Nobody accepted them, even when I put those schedules out. So that's why it's not on the scheduled sessions.
Okay, but that's a totally separate issue. Like, how many times did you ask questions about that on Discord?
Questions regarding scheduling.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
maybe
like
that's my own fault. Maybe
yeah,
I should keep asking.
that
Keep
is
asking.
definitely your own fault. That it is your job to make sure you get your schedule updated and organized. If you don't, guess what the policy is? You lose all of your equity for the week. You get no equity, zero equity, and you need to follow. You need to fill out policy tracking that you have no equity for the week. All right,
Okay.
because you're required to have that schedule, and if you're not clear about what's going on with your schedule, then you don't stop messaging as many times as you need to per day until the schedule
No.
is created. So that's 100 million times more important than some baloney phony work scheduling check-in, right? So what I'm trying to say is that if, like, scheduling to check in is just nothing. There's no schedule. Your schedule is 1 million times more important than that, and you're not even taking it seriously. You don't even have a schedule. It's not even done. So for you not to prioritize your schedule and to be worried about whether the session is done and that, oh, I'm sitting here waiting, like, that's, for me, it's just totally unprofessional that you're not even scheduling your actual schedule. Like, that when you schedule an actual schedule, there is a start time. You have to show up on time with everybody involved, right? The schedule is the priority. Does that make sense?
Yes, Vijay, we already spent 14 minutes in this topic.
Okay, so what I want to do is I just want to make it clear that work, like scheduling check-in criteria, for example, for Canopy, takes 5 minutes to go on and say, hi, I am available for Canopy for this octant in the next 3 hours. Let me know. It's 5 minutes. That's it. No one's waiting around for anything. Like, if anything, it's like, oh, let's schedule for an hour from now, and then we schedule or we don't schedule. But either way, no one's waiting around for anything. I just don't understand the waiting around part. And you're getting paid for the time that you are working. And if it's in the middle of the night, you get paid double time. All right, so anyways, we're going to go over that in detail. So the question is waiting around, etc., etc., etc. There's also, remember, you have primary, backup, and you've got on call, right? So all three of those are specific types of scheduling, and they have different values and the different types of work. Okay, so let's add the topic of work scheduling check-in criteria. Okay, but this is separate than your actual scheduling, which is priority. Do you guys understand, like, how much more important the actual scheduling is than the check-ins?
Yes,
Yes.
I understand.
So if you guys don't understand the normal scheduling, you need to prioritize that more than this. This is irrelevant compared to actual scheduling. Okay? So you guys fully understand normal actual scheduling, or do you guys have a question about that? Because everyone's supposed to have a schedule 1 to 2 weeks. That everyone's supposed to have a 1 to 2 week schedule. That's clear as far as Jello team is concerned. All right. Anyway, so I think your scheduling's clear. Let's take a
Hi,
five
I
minute
want to
break.
ask something. I
What?
am in Jello team and I'm doing a deputy position as well. Should I be checking in both in activity team and
Let's just make
now?
that a question here. Like, Jello versus activity. We'll go into that question during the deputy position role, okay?
Okay, perfect.
All right, so let's take a 5 minute break. When we get back, we're gonna go through the work scheduling check-in criteria separately, because Temitope is bringing up that this it involves a lot more than just the deputy position, and let's just make sure there's clarity on there, and also address the clear issue about this concept of waiting around and what that means and how we can address it, because that is of major concern. Okay, can we do that?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Check.
Is anyone here?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay.
All right, I'm back.
Okay, thank you, Jay.
You guys back or?
Yes, I'm back. I'm here.
Yes, Jay, I'm
Cool.
back. Mhm.
All right. So the next topic is work scheduling check-in criteria. And as far as like the first thing I want to say here is make it clear that we pay everybody what the amount of money they want to be paid, as long as they fit in the budget. We give everybody back paid benefits, paid leave, all that stuff they want, and they do the work. We give everyone equity, ownership, right? I mean, basically, and everyone has power to vote on everything, right? So that includes following the highest standard of legal employee worker relationships for organizations in the world. So that would mean that everyone gets overtime equity after working. I think it's 4 hours straight without a break, and then 6 hours in a day, 30 hours a week. So we have 30-hour work weeks, right? So, and then every hour we're supposed to take a 5-minute break. Every half hour we're supposed to take a 30-second stretch, right? No matter what we're doing, right? So if you need a 10-minute break every 2 hours or 3 hours or 15-minute break, I think every 4 hours you're supposed to take a half an hour break, right? Which is why we do our manager opt-in site as 3 to 4 hours. Like you're not supposed to work more than that, right? So we structure the entire model so that people have shifts that are 4 hours, right? So you're not working too much or less than 4 hours, right? And when you need to work more than 4 hours, you get overtime. So it's like you get paid to take breaks. You get paid to communicate. Most jobs, they don't pay you to Skype and communicate on Discord at all. You get paid to schedule, and when you're doing the work, you get paid. So the idea that there would be a lot of issues around our worker support would be weird. But either way, I still think it's a major concern. So let's go around. I definitely want to address this waiting around issue and make sure there's clarity. But I want to use real examples. So let's go on Discord here. And go to Canopy Green Team. So Canopy Team today. Oh, my work schedule proposal for Canopy Andromeda Hour 3. Let me know. I thought that she worked with Albina. I thought you scheduled with Zilu for Andromeda. Alright, so anyways, that didn't happen because she ended up scheduling with Zilu. But either way, she checked in twice. She only needed to check in once, right? She checked in twice, but she only needed to check in once for Andromeda if she was scheduled at that time. For Albina, and it probably took she copied and pasted a template. It probably took her like 5 minutes or whatever, and she gets paid for her 5 minutes. Teme Tope, you checked in once, so maybe that took you 5 minutes. Maybe you didn't have a template. Maybe it took you 10 minutes. I don't know. But I don't understand the issue of the waiting. So there's two things that we want to go over. We want to go over the idea of the criteria itself. So let's kind of do a mini agenda here. So mini agenda. So we have let's go over criteria for Canopy, and let's go over criteria for deputy position, Ativity. Okay. And then we want to address the waiting around issue. So are there any other mini topics we want to focus on, or maybe we could check in on the waiting around issue at the beginning and the end to make sure we have clarity on it? And then also there is a vocabulary term where there's a difference between VA scheduling work and buddy team scheduling. But I think we covered that already. So it's a normal weekly work schedule. So VA scheduling for Canopy and Deputy is different. So you guys understand that there's a normal buddy team work schedule, Canopy and the deputy position Ativity are intentionally very different than normal work schedules. Do you guys understand?
Yes, understand.
Yes.
So this is more of what's the term? Let's just call it in the moment scheduling, whereas this is fixed scheduling. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So are there any questions, comments about the waiting around issue to begin with before we go into the criteria?
I thought you were going to clarify that the check waiting around issue.
We are going to cover it,
Okay.
but the idea here is if there's anything like that needs to be said. I mean, for me, I said some of it already, but I mean, I don't know exactly. I mean, the only thing I can ask about is like whether people are tracking their hours, like if they're tracking their hours of waiting around doing nothing, like who is tracking hours of waiting around doing nothing, right? I mean, that's the only question I could think about asking now, but is there anything anyone else has to say? I mean, we'll come back to it at the end, but it's like, what else? What is the like? Does anyone have a specific example? I mean, the examples I have, there just isn't any waiting around. The other thing to note here is that for Ativity, right? So Canopy VA scheduling is like 5 minutes, right? Ativity is way more, right? So this is once every 3 hours, right? Whereas Ativity is 3 to 5
Three.
times per hour,
Yes.
right? So if Canopy is 5 minutes, this is more like 20 to 30 minutes per hour. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Because if I
But
take if I take
if you have
three,
if if you have a BA scheduling uh setup,
what if you have a VA scheduling setup? There's no communication. What needs to be communicated if you have the VSA schedule set up,
great.
right? Or what?
Yeah, yeah.
So let's say it's 12 o'clock p.m. and you write a message. Hey, are you available? Are you actually try to do it correctly? Proposal, VA general VA session in 1 hour question mark, and then I say yes 7. Let's do it. Right. So then in 1 hour we are scheduled for general VA session. So why would anyone get paid to wait around for an hour before the session? The session starts an hour. We spent 30 seconds to maybe 3 minutes on communicating about scheduling. If we do it correctly, it could be really quick. I just did it in about 10 seconds. And then
Okay.
okay, we have 1 hour until the session. So what is the waiting around? Like I don't understand. Like so
But for
Yeah, I think
example,
there's still this misunderstanding on this waiting around. Okay, Janelle,
yeah,
Hanel, go around, go ahead. Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
I have to check in 3 or 5 times per hour, 10 to 30 minutes. If you say we'll do the session in 1 hour, what should I do in that hour? Check in
you don't do anything. You could do your check-ins every 15 to 20 minutes, but that check-in only takes like 30 seconds or a minute or 2 minutes. I mean,
with the same proposal.
no, you don't need to do the same proposal, but you can do a reminder or whatever. I mean, if the agreement's already there, then you
Okay,
do the
okay.
agreement.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you.
But the
Okay.
but the but the point is that, or you could be scheduling the next session, or you could be doing whatever. But the point is that everything can change very rapidly.
Yes.
and what the topic or the goal would be or whatever. Also, you could have proposal, it's 12 p.m. now. Let's jump on Hangout, right? Or let's jump on in 15 minutes or whatever. You can propose to just jump on Hangout immediately. So if you want to propose
No.
for 1 hour, that implies that you would want to work in an hour. If you're ready to work now, you imply, okay, let's work in 10 minutes, or let's work in 5 minutes, or let's jump on the Hangout immediately. But the whole point is that there has to be an incentive to get on the Hangout. Otherwise, who would ever get on the Hangout and work? Especially with me,
Yeah, of course.
right? I mean, because that's how I feel about it. I feel about it is that basically, as an example, you Hanel, you
Yes.
basically decided to go off and do whatever you wanted to do whenever you wanted to do it for 50 hours, and that's great and all, but you had no incentive because you just thought you could just like track all the hours you want and go work on whatever you want whenever you want. Like you had no incentive to schedule with me and actually do work with me, which is your job.
E- exactly.
So why would I hire someone and spend thousands of dollars hiring people to not work with me when that's the job? It doesn't make any sense, right? So the idea that people get paid to not work with me and have no incentive to schedule to do the work, it just doesn't make any sense.
Uh, yeah, I understand, but I thought I was on training, so
I mean, the training is on the job training. Like, the training happens in the buddy team sessions and in the VA sessions. Like, that's where you learn how to do the work. Like, you don't learn how to do the work from either a video or just reading documents. Like, you're never going to learn from that. I mean, you
well,
might. It's a tool. It's
that's a
helpful,
good
but it's
point for
not.
recruitment because they say otherwise.
Who says otherwise?
Recruitment. When you in the recruitment process, when you go from a stage 3 to 4 and 5 and 6, they say, look at this video, look at this, read
Sure.
this document, and I think that's a good point for recruitment.
It is, and it's like it's important to read the document so you know what you're doing, right? Here's step one, step two, step three, so you can follow along, right? But you're not learning the training from the document. The document is a resource to refer to, right? It's a resource document so that you can look up policies, you can have the links to the information that when you need to find it, right? And then you watch the video as a tool to get an introduction, right? But you're not going to learn just from the video. You learn by doing the work in the buddy teams which is where you schedule to do the work, right? That's where you learn how to do the work. So typically, let's say you're going to work on the budget with Albina, right? You would watch the video on
Yes.
the budget training for a few hours, right? And then you would schedule with
Yes.
Albina. You would view it. You ask questions. Hey, I had a question about this and this about from the video and this document. Does this make sense? And she would like talk it over with you and answer your questions. And then you would just do the work with her, and you would watch her, you would apprentice with her, and you'd watch her do it, and you would look at how she changes things, and you would ask more questions, and you would just learn next to her. And it could take you 3 or 4 times of doing the budget with her before you would ever be able to do it on your own,
Exactly.
right? the
Yeah, I
video the
agree.
video in no way is trying to allow you to do the work. There are very few times when there may actually be a video you can watch and then do the work, right? But it's very few and
Yes.
far between, right? So the video helps because it saves a ton of time, so that instead of training people on every single little detail, every single thing from scratch, we can just skip straight to the questions, right? So it can save many hours, especially when you're talking about Hanel needing 2 hours of budget basic information. And then if you multiply it by 10 people, that's 20 hours that, you know, Albina just saved 20 hours of her time. That's an entire work week, if not more, for her, right?
Yeah.
So a video is very useful. But it's not the training in and of itself. It's simply a tool,
Okay.
yeah, to help the trainer, who is either Albina or myself or whoever, achieve the goal of the training, right? So
Yeah.
so the whole point is that, let's say you watch training video after training video after training video. You watch, like, stage 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you watch, stage 6 and hyper training, and then you watch the canopy trainings and all that stuff, and you just watch all these trainings and more trainings and more trainings and more video, more video, more video, and you never do a buddy team session and you never actually ask any questions or work with anyone on anything, all of it is pointless. There is literally no point to watch all those videos because you haven't learned anything, right? The whole point is you watch one video, one single video, and then you schedule a review session and ask questions about that video that you watched, and you get training and support for that particular topic until it's verified, and then you go on to the next one.
Okay.
Right? So, like, I mean, how can you even absorb 20 different topics for 20 different videos with never even getting on a buddy team session and asking a single question? It just doesn't make any sense. Right? So that's how
Yeah.
our entire stage 5 modeling, which we're moving away from at this point, you do one responsibility at a time. There's supposed to be a video for every responsibility. You watch the video and then you go on a hangout, or you schedule, or you do a review session, or you go onto a main session, and then you get verified for that responsibility of that training. You
Okay.
don't go on to the next training until
To
that
put it in
training
the
has been
on the
approved.
that would be good to put it on the recruitment process.
It's
Okay,
on it's on the recruitment.
at the time, and then schedule a video session with someone if you have any questions. That would be so much clearer
But that's
recruitment
what it
process.
says. Let's go ahead and link the
Jay?
stage 5 process. Can someone link the stage 5 process, or I'll see if I can find it myself here.
Okay, Jay.
Yeah.
I just asking about the recruitment team. So my question is, do we have any specific team for the recruitment who are currently working on the recruitment team?
I don't understand what this has to do with our criteria checking.
Okay, like I just asking, do uh, right now we have any recruitment team?
Yes, it's called the ORC team, Outreach and Recruitment Commission.
Okay, so like I face some problem on recruitment. Like I'm on stage 5, so why should I ask that my person? Like I want to finish on step 5, so why should I ask this question? And who can help me on this step 5? So this is the main reason from my side not to move forward. And I don't
So
get
let's
any.
write down your question. Can you write? Oh, is this the stage 5 document? So if you could write down your question on the notes, or did anyone understand the
Okay, I'll
question?
just
Jay
write
is asking who is the responsible person to finish the stage 5 and get trained here.
Okay, so first of all, I'm going to go over this with you guys. But first of all, stage 5 is not a thing. Stage 5 is 10 separate individual responsibilities. If you talk to me about stage 5, what I'm going to tell you is that's nonsense. No one's doing stage 5. You can't work on stage 5. You can work on a specific responsibility, one at a time, period. Okay? So what you should be saying is that I'm on responsibility 0. How do I do responsibility 0? I'm on responsibility number 1. Right? I need to do my main buddy team, or I'm on responsibility 2. Either way, Abdul, you should not be doing stage 5 at all, period. You need to be focusing on the deputy position. Okay? Do you guys understand?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so in stage 5, after every responsibility, it says stop and don't continue until you have been approved. Right? It is your responsibility to make sure that you know how many hours you're approved for, and do not go over those hours without asking. If we will still pay you the lowest hours, you're going against policy, right? And you break policy if you continue. Right? And then you go to the next responsibility. And what does it say? It says blank screen. Here we go. It says stop and do not continue until everything is verified. It is your responsibility to keep asking if you're verified so we don't forget. Right? If you want me to add to that and schedule a buddy team review if you have questions, we can do that. But the point is that you're not supposed to move forward until you communicate. Like, I don't know how to make it clearer than that. Like, is it just not clear or what?
Jay?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see on the screen that gelatin stage 5 process. So, is it is there any difference between the step 5 process, or executive team, or gelatin, or global team?
Yes, it's different.
So this is a big difference. Like when I see the this documents, gelatin stage 5 process. So when I choose the deputy position, so then where should I get the process on the stage 5 for the deputy position? So the this is the question. I like.
So I don't understand what it has to do with
Okay.
what we're currently talking
Just
about. But right now, you need to
okay.
focus on the deputy position and the deputy training.
Yes.
We're gonna go through that if we can get through this. It would have been our next topic, but now we're talking about something else, which is the criteria, which is actually part of your training. Right? So this is all part of your training. So the whole idea that you guys aren't getting the training is driving me insane. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You just keep asking me over and over and over again, oh, when am I going to get my training? This is the training. We're going through the training and you're asking the questions and you're learning how to do the work right now. And instead of focusing on the training and learning it, you're asking, when am I going to get the training? When am I going to do the training? It's like, why are you thinking about something else instead of focusing on right now and focusing on what we're talking about so that we can actually work as a team? Right? Like, this is the training. You're just not paying attention to it.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, Jay, I understand.
Yeah, so it's like, for me, what you asking about stage 5 and wanting to do something separate than what we're doing now is saying, I don't care about the criteria. I don't care about the deputy position criteria, and I don't care about the check-ins that need to happen, because that's what we're talking about now. And you're saying, I don't care about that. I want to do something else. I want to do stage 5. I want to do something else that's not what we're doing now. Is that what you're saying, or are you saying something else? Because I'm very, very confused.
Yes, Jay, I am asking the stage 5 for the deputy position.
No, stage 5 has nothing to do with the deputy position. It's about Jello team, and it is not necessary to go through all of stage 5 for the deputy position. Period.
Okay, so I think we need to change the document slot, like the stage 5 onboarding process. I think it will be good.
Okay, so basically what I want to do with stage 5 onboarding process, and I already asked someone to do this, no one did it, of course, but we might as well just do it now, right? Is that we're gonna change response.
Yeah, you're far away.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, right
A
now.
little bit. So I want to change responsibility 0 to, get training on specific position and team first. Okay, so focus on the training for your position or your team before doing any other stage 5 responsibilities. Okay, does that make sense? So at the beginning of the Jello team stage 5 process, responsibility 0 is now going to be your team position.
Perfect.
And then after you get approved for all of your team training, right? Then in your position training, then and only then do you come back to stage 5, because you need to do one thing at a time. You can't be doing, like, we need to just not encourage anyone to be doing like anything more than one thing at a time, because it's just not possible. So you must complete your position specific training first before stage 5. All right, so someone needs to go through, and I'm sure I'm going to say this and no one's going to do it because I'm paying 5 people right here, right now to do all this work and no one's going to do it. But someone needs to go through the stage 5 process and change every responsibility to go up 1 responsibility because we just changed the numbers by 1. Can anyone do that, or should I just do it myself and get it done?
I can do it.
You think you can do it?
Here in my schedule.
What do you mean your schedule?
Oh, sorry. My private agenda, sorry.
It literally would take 30 seconds. If no one wants to do it, I will just do it right now. So I just want to confirm.
Do you want me to do it right now?
I would beg someone just to do it right now. It literally will take 30 seconds. Can you do that?
Okay. I'm on it.
Can you just let me know when you're done with it? Can you just let me know when you're done?
Yes.
Thank
I will
you.
let you know.
Okay, so any other questions about the waiting around issue? And please don't talk about stage 5 right now. Right now, our topic is work scheduling check-in criteria. We're talking about the waiting around in relationship to the work scheduling check-in. We're talking about the vocabulary and what is required for your canopy check-in criteria and your activity deputy team check-in criteria. Okay, so are there any questions about it?
No question. So, okay, what I was saying was that now that you have specified that we check in and we schedule, now I'm still going back to, for instance, Albina and I are supposed to have a session. We have agreed, okay, it's CS7 and it's for Zuri H1. 10 minutes before Zuri H1. Oh, Albina, are you available for our session for Zuri H1? That's a reminder, I guess. So I send that reminder out. Oh, and she responds, yes, I'll be available. That's like 15 minutes to the time for the session or for the schedule. And when it's exactly time, okay, maybe another 5 minutes or 2 minutes. Oh, I'm getting on the Hangout. Can we please meet on the Hangout? Okay, she does not respond. The exact time I'm on the Hangout. That's Zuri H1 or H2 or whatever. Oh, Albina, I'm on the Hangout. Okay, would you just come and let us have the session? Oh, she does not respond. And I'm there for another 15 minutes. Oh, she now comes on 15 minutes past the time and says, oh, sorry, I got caught up with something.
Okay.
Can we make it at the top of the hour? That's in 45 minutes.
Yeah, so that is now different. Right? So what is the difference of that? I am already
on my own night time. Let's take, for instance, it's in the middle of the night.
Well, here, let me stop you for a second there. So that situation that you're explaining is different, right? So as soon as you get on Hangout, everything changes, right? Because like you're no longer, just chatting, right? Like I can chat on my phone. I can be walking around anywhere. I can go anywhere. Now you're on Hangout. You're actually like focused in a real-time session. Hangout is a real-time session. Right, so not only are you in Hangout in terms of the real-time session, you have to open your computer. Your computer has to start up. You have to deal with all your computers. Like you're getting ready for the session. All of that takes time, right? So when we, for example, our session started a little late today, right? So we started maybe like 15 minutes late for our session for Ativity, right? So then our session maybe lasts 2.5 hours, right? But just because our session lasted 2.5 hours doesn't change the fact that for the first 15 minutes, we were still getting everything ready. And even before that, we were getting prepared for the session. And afterwards, we might be following up and checking in on all our tasks and getting everything organized for after the session. All of that is time worked. So even though the session lasted 2.5 hours, we probably worked for 3 hours. So on your work report, it would say 3 hours of work, even though the session was 2.5 hours. Right? Because as soon as you get on Hangout and you're actually doing real-time work, it's completely separate. So if someone gets on Hangout with me and we schedule, I'm going to be extremely professional. I'm going to be there on time when we say we're going to be there, and I don't ever want anyone waiting for me on Hangout because that would be unprofessional, right? So I want to make sure we're scheduled for the correct time. If I'm not going to be there, I tell someone, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be available for 20 minutes because I'm going to be late, right? You don't need to be waiting around on the Hangout. So if someone doesn't show up to the meeting they're supposed to show up on, maybe you're there for like 5-10 minutes or whatever, and then you leave, or they show up 15 minutes late, like you just said Albina did. But that's all time that you're sitting around waiting on Hangout for someone to be there. And if Albina wasn't there, she's getting a strike because she didn't show up or whatever, and she didn't communicate that she wasn't going to show up or that she was going to be late or whatever. Right? So that is very, very different than saying like, hey, are you available? Which is availability, and there's no schedule. Right? So you're talking about the difference between availability, like, oh, are you available? Hey, I'm proposing that we schedule for this time. And hey, that's communication about when we agree to schedule. If there's no agreement, then there's no schedule. Right? Whereas you're talking about something totally different, which is like, hey, would you like to schedule at this time? Yes. Boom. Now we have agreement between two human beings who have the power as sovereign beings to vote on things and make agreements with each other, right? To have a meeting at a specific time. And if they don't show up at that time, it's unprofessional to not be communicating or canceling. You want to cancel a meeting? Fine. Cancel it. It's perfectly professional to cancel a meeting. But for someone to show up on time and then the other person not to be there is unprofessional and bad. And is totally opposite of, hey, are you available for at this time? Oh, you're not? Okay, like nobody is required to be anywhere if there's no agreement. Well, as soon as you have agreement on a scheduled time to be there, then it's a whole different scenario. So do you see how different your scenario is from what I'm talking about?
Yeah. It's different. So
Totally different.
Yeah.
So for me, these are two totally separate issues. One issue is, you know, after agreed upon schedule, right? And after an agreed upon schedule, then it's professional meeting, work, right? And then you've got basically, proposals and communication on Skype or Discord about availability and possibly scheduling. But there's no schedule unless there's agreement, right? So the idea that you're waiting around but without any agreement is, for me, insane. It doesn't make any sense because it's just not professional to say that I'm waiting around for someone that I never made an agreement to meet with. It's just really weird. Do you see what I'm saying? Whereas as soon as you have an agreement, right, and you have a scheduled time to meet, then you are expected to be there at the correct time to do the work. And if you're not there, then that's really bad. And if Albina wasn't there, then that's really bad for her. And she should get whatever, strike or whatever. She's not communicating. That would be like easily a strike or policy tracking or something. Okay?
Okay.
If Albina says, oh, I'm going to be 5 minutes late, I can't be there at the top of the hour, that's perfectly professional. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Right? Because you are now informed that she's going to be 5 minutes late. Right? If you're not available in 5 minutes, then tell her, you know what, I can't do it now. I'm canceling. And then you cancel. That's also perfectly professional. No problem. But if she doesn't show up for 15 minutes and she doesn't tell you she's not going to show up for 15 minutes, that's not only not professional, it's probably against policy and would be a strike. If it's a main session, then it's automatically a strike to be 1 minute late if you are scheduled to be on time. Okay? So main sessions are different than buddy teams, whereas buddy teams, you can basically do whatever you want. Like you just need to communicate about it, Like and you can't cancel a main session. Main sessions just can't be canceled at all. There is no canceling of main sessions. Okay, so Teme Tope, do you have so do you want to talk more about it? And what are you talking about? Are you talking about the scheduled version? Or are you talking about the proposals and communication version?
The proposals and communication version. That's
Okay.
the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
Okay, but the one you were talking about with Albina was not that because that was the scheduled. So the scheduled one is so the scheduled one is yes, 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 and more yes. That is all included as work hours. Of course, that would be work hours. Even if you're doing nothing, you're sitting around waiting for someone, you should be communicating and trying to figure out where they are, whatever. That's all work hours. Yeah. So what about the communications and proposals one?
Yeah, now that's up to you now because the communications and proposal, you said it that since it is there is no agreed schedule, there is no agreement, and so it's not going to be taken as work. But scheduling sometimes some things might come up, and I know that's why we said. You must create 1 hour, 2 hours in between, and then we must always check the upcoming session so that we know that there's no clash or there's an overlapping of timing or the rest. But other times, for instance, when I'm still coming back to scheduling VA sessions with you. Now, if for instance we are scheduled for a particular time and you get held up somewhere and you're not able, you scheduling now you have agreed that, oh, 7, we are meeting at this particular time. Okay, yes, I'm available. Yes, and we have agreed that we are meeting. And maybe you get held up somewhere, thinking you would finish on time to come start the other VA sessions with me, and you don't finish on time. Personally, I have set that time. Maybe I've set an alarm. I've woken up before that time, and it's like an hour. And 20 or 30 minutes into that time, you come up and say, you are no longer going to be available. Let's cancel or let's reschedule. What I'm saying now is, I have waited 30 minutes. Is it going to be counted as work or waiting around? Like you like the term you used for it.
What do you mean by okay? So the question is whether or not your work. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, I was on mute. All right.
Oh,
So
Okay.
the question really comes down to whether or not you're working, right? So
Yeah.
so for me, um, you're talking about a half an hour amount of time. At the beginning, you're sending a message. At the end, you're sending a message. In the middle, you're sending a message. So, you know, you're on Discord. You're communicating some, right? So it's like, there's obviously time that you're tracking there. It's not like there's no time at all. So it's not about whether or not you're getting paid nothing or you're getting paid all of it, right? Because you're obviously getting paid something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Right. So there's definitely pay going on there because you can track all of your communications and there's multiple levels of communications that are happening in that little half an hour span, right? But as far as the actual, like, let's say we schedule the session and then a half an hour before it's like, I'm no longer available at the top of the hour, then that session is now canceled. And now it's like, okay, let's try for the bottom of the hour. There's an hour before that session. So I guess I don't really understand the obviously if someone's like, I'm going to be 5 minutes late, then the session's happening. So I guess I'm a little confused on like the communication. Like if someone's saying they're going to be 5 minutes late and then they're going to be another 5 minutes late and then it's, oh, now they change it to canceling the session to be at the bottom of the hour, then that seems like it's a little bit different. Like you're going from doing the session to canceling the session, right? So that might be a little bit different, but in the context of changing the session from the top of the hour to the bottom of the hour is a canceled session with a new proposal for the bottom of the hour instead of the top of the hour. And I don't see it as waiting around for an additional half an hour. You basically can do whatever you want with your life for that half an hour. There are many times where things have changed and the schedule have changed. There's breaks in between things, and I just go lay down and rest and close my eyes and just sleep or whatever, because I'm so tired because I've been working 12 hours straight or I've been like doing that. But it's like that time I'm resting is not paid time. I don't know. So I guess I'm still just kind of confused on like if you were doing your work properly, you would have endless self-driven responsibilities. There's so much work to do. It's endless. Like literally thousands and thousands of hours you could do whenever you want to, including when you're waiting for people, whatever. So it's like for me, the idea that anyone should even want to get paid for waiting around and doing nothing when there's thousands of hours of work to do doesn't make any sense. So I mean, if you want to try to give me the example again, be fine. But from what I heard, you implied that the session was scheduled for the top of the hour, and then whether it was 15 minutes or 20 minutes before or half an hour before, they canceled the session and scheduled it for the bottom of the hour. That's sort of what I heard from you. And if I'm wrong, then you should explain it again.
No, but Jay, you have clarified something which is very key, which is you are getting paid something. You might not get paid for everything, which is it makes sense now to me because as long as you're saying, oh, okay, will you be available? You will be. You're tracking your hours definitely to 5 minutes there, 10 minutes there, 15 minutes there. You might not be able to track the whole 30 minutes, but at least you're tracking the communications you're making, the 5 minutes here, the 10 minutes here, the 2 minutes here, which is yes, it's okay, it's clear now. So if the session holds holds a bit late or is there's communications, you're getting something while communicating instead of just being blank and it's not tracked in your worksheet as yes, you did not have any output per se, but since you said communications is part of what we should track on our worksheets and time and the rest, yes, it makes sense. I go with that. I go with that.
Cool. Yeah, and overall, like another way to think about it as well as like you're taught where all of this is about minutes, right? We just don't track minutes. Like minutes is just not applicable, right? Like our entire pay structure is all based on stipends, right? Like nobody should be budgeting hours that they don't work. Like it's technically possible to do that, but it lowers your ranking. You get paid less money, right? You get, basically you're not really helping the team because you're not working the hours that you budgeted, right? So if your budget, like, the only reason you should be budgeted 30 hours is because you're working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, right? That's the way that it's set up. If you're working full-time salary position 30 hours a week, it's because you are actually working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and you know you're going to be doing that, right? There's no other reason to be budgeted 30 hours a week. If you're going to be working like 20 hours a week, you should be budgeted like 10, 15 hours a week, right? So that you're always working more hours than you are budgeted, and then your pay rate is whatever you need to make for the month, right? Like as far as your monthly stipend, right? The hours are we disconnect the hours from the money, right? We don't care how much people want to propose to get paid, right? It's like that's your monthly budget, and then your hours are should just be the budget hours you're going to work, because otherwise you're not making as much money. Like we're in the future, once we have enough money, we'll be getting everyone their ideal budget, but you're not going to get your ideal budget unless you're actually working your hours, right? So in the context of a couple minutes here and there, like we average everything to the closest half hour. Like nobody should be tracking minutes. It just doesn't make any sense to track minutes, right? Like no one's going to be going through each person's individual minutes about whether or not they're working or not. It's never going to happen, right? So and we don't even care. So it's like every hour by the hour or every half hour at most is all we need to know for our work reporting, and then we just kind of add it all up and estimate for the week how many hours you've been working, because you're adding some for communications and other things. And then you should just automatically be working your stipend, and then you get your stipend and you want some extra bonuses, that's fine. You get some own bonuses for overtime, your bonuses for output, your bonuses for this or that or whatever, your half year bonuses. Who cares, right? We'll give people bonuses, right? But the point is that if you're nitpicking over minutes and hours, you're doing the entire position wrong. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
It's not about minutes and say again.
Can we move as next topic? Because we already spent a lot of time in this topic.
Well, yeah, but obviously this is really important. So no one's doing good timekeeping. So thank you, Abdul, for checking on the time. So the question would be, how many minutes have we spent on this? How much time are we over? And then we can all think about that. But we can't go on to the next topic because we haven't finished this topic. Like, this topic is important and we need to finish this topic. If we want to take another 5 minute break, we can take another 5 minute break. We also need to let Mamoon check in. But
It's right now 15 minutes
what?
in this topic.
Okay, well, that would be right on time.
Not exactly.
All right, so, but are you sure that's true? That seems like it might not be that, because...
No, we started at 10 p.m.
Okay. So, to finish up on what I was saying just now, and I know no one's even taking notes on this. I mean, this is what I'm talking about in terms of doing work. It's like if notes aren't being taken in real time at all times, paying 4 people to be here to just sit around and listen, it's for me insanity, right? It's like, why would anyone come to a meeting to just sit around and just listen? It's like, no, we take notes, we record, we get everything organized, we take summary notes, we do detailed notes, whatever we can do to support the team, right? It's like we've been talking for 15 minutes and there's nothing to show for it, right? There's no notes. So in terms of what I'm trying to say, it's like the focus should be on the work, right? Like that's the whole point, that it's obviously not getting across. Like everyone should be here to work, and that's not the case, right? If everyone is here to work, there would automatically be notes being taken all the time, right? That wouldn't even be an issue. Like, how many times have I asked for notes to be taken when I'm speaking? Like 500 times in the last 3 years? I don't know. I should have to ask like 3 times, and then people should always do it, and then I shouldn't even be the one asking. Someone else should be being like, why is no one taking notes while Jay's talking, right? It shouldn't even be me doing that, right? So for me, it's exactly the same issue. It's like, if you're nitpicking about a couple minutes here and there, you're not doing the job correctly, right? You're missing the whole point of the job. We are here to try to save lives and the planet in relationship to environmental destruction and collapse of the ecosystems and billions of people dying, including billions, trillions of animals and ecosystems and waterways and everything, right? Like that's the goal. The only way we're going to do that is if we're professional and we're organized, which requires policies and requires budgets and requires all these important things, right? But it's not about the minutes of hour tracking. It's about generally following the policies, right? Our policy is to track all communications, estimate your hours, but once you are attained your hours, you're actually doing the work. Like, I mean, I'm working 40, 50, 60 hours a week. If I tracked every single minute, it would probably be like 70 hours a week. But I don't have the time and the effort to track all of my time because I'm so overwhelmed with everything. So because we're not getting the work done, and we're just we're functional at this point, which is good, but we're not connecting as a team. And the Ativity team's a brand new team. We have multiple teams are trying to get started. There's like 5 teams or something like that, and we only have one functional team, and that is the steering team. So every time we try to set up a new team, it's going to be that much harder to get it set up, and it takes time and effort and energy to get the team set up, and that's what we're here to do. And so it's fine that it's going to be a little bit clunky and difficult, but we'll get there. But I want the Ativity team, and this is something you can write down as well. I mean, I'd be surprised if it gets written down properly, but for me, I want the Ativity team to be the most professional, the most organized, the most strict, right, of all of the teams, right? That we want to be the example model of the most democratic, the most organized, that we follow every single policy, that we are just like we're on it, so that we can be the example for the rest of the network. That's the goal for me. Right? Is that fun? No, it's not really fun, right? It's just doing the work that we are all being paid to do in real time. And it could take months and months and months. Like this meeting is going, I mean, in relationship to being professional and getting to be the example, we're not doing well at all. Right? We're on tangents and we're not clear. We're not taking notes. Our timekeeping's a little, yeah, but we're doing our best. So, any other questions on the communications relating to this idea of waiting around?
No, I don't have.
Cool. And I guess the last thing I'll say is that the last thing I want is any type of policy that would actually give any individual an incentive to just sit around and do nothing. Right? Because basically, if your incentive is this, if you get paid to sit around and do nothing, and if you just sit around a little longer, you get paid more to do it. For me, that's a really bad policy, because the policy should be, if you just sit around doing nothing, you're not getting jack shit. You better get your ass together and actually get organized and start doing some work, so that you're not sitting around doing nothing. Because then you're wasting your time and you're not getting paid for it. Right? And then it's like, okay, well, I better learn how to do my responsibilities and do self-driven responsibilities, so that that doesn't happen to me. And then more importantly, that maybe I should get on Discord and start scheduling more sessions, because I haven't finished my schedule yet. Boom, I have work to do. Oh my God, what a concept. Work instead of waiting around doing nothing. Right? So as soon as you have this policy that actually incentivizes sitting around doing nothing and paying people to sit around and do nothing, right? It's like, it seems to me like it could be never ending, and it could even lead to corruption, because okay, the more and more I sit around and do nothing, the more I get paid. Ooh, great, let's make more policies like that, right? As opposed to saying like, the reason you're sitting around doing nothing is because you're not doing your work properly, because you're not learning properly, not learning responsibilities properly, you're not taking on enough responsibility, you're not asking to take on more tasks and responsibilities. When you do get a responsibility, in your mind you think about it once, and then you do the task once, and then you forget about it forever. Whereas the way that we work is we train you on a specific task or responsibility. You're supposed to do that all the time, over and over and over and over again, forever. Like you never ever do anything once, ever. And 90% of the time,
I have a question.
yeah, well, let me just finish this thought. 90% of the time when I train people to do work, right, they do the work once and then they never do it again. 90% of the time. Right? So when you learn how to do anything, the entire time you've been here, you should be doing it over and over and over again all the time, or you're not doing it right. Hannah?
I'm sorry. If I schedule a VT session, do I have to check in an activity team or yellow team?
For VA work? VT work?
Uh-huh. VT session.
A normal buddy team session would be Jello team.
Okay, will be yellow team. Okay.
Yeah, so this would be normal buddy team work scheduling is Jello team.
Okay.
Okay, so you can schedule all the normal buddy team sessions you want in relationship to the deputy position, the activity position.
Yes, that's why I'm asking.
Okay, but you didn't let me finish my sentence.
Sorry.
So I'm going to say it again. You can schedule all the normal buddy team sessions that you want to, but in relationship to your 15 to 30 minute regularly scheduled check-ins for the deputy position, that is for VA work. Okay? So if you're not also scheduling VA work, you're not doing your job. Right? Okay. So you can't schedule regularly scheduled buddy team sessions instead of your actual paid work for your job. right? So you can focus on a many regularly scheduled buddy team sessions as you want to, but not instead of the VA sessions. You have to do the VA sessions first and foremost as your priority. And on top of that, you can also schedule regular buddy team scheduled sessions. And we can prioritize them as needed. All right. So it's just like you have to do the VA schedules. That's required, right? And you have to do the proposals and get the VA work going. And then optionally on top of that, you can also do the normal buddy team scheduled sessions. And that's Jello team. VA schedules is executive team, activity team, canopy teams, right? So it's like executive. So just think about the difference between normal work, Jello team normal work, executive work, VA work. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
And I believe there is a Discord channel for normal VA work, right? So there is a VA normal work communication channel. So that it is technically possible to communicate for regular VA work that's not executive work, so that it does exist. But generally speaking, 90% of the VA work that I need help with now is primarily executive work. But a few things that I do are, not executive, that are more like administrative or whatever. There's other tasks that I'm working on.
Okay.
An example could be like recruitment. All right.
Hello.
Can you hear me? No, they can't hear me.
Yes.
Are you guys there?
There we
Yes.
go. Can you guys hear me? So let's
Yeah,
get.
we're here.
Let's let
I
Mamoon.
think Jake is gone.
Can you guys hear me? Oh wait. Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay.
Yeah.
No.
Let's let Mamoon check in, and then let's come back and focus on the actual work, because I feel like we're on a major tangent that is not really helping us actually get the work done. It's important though. I think it's very important to talk about and have your guys' concerns and understand, the scheduling, and understand the work ethics and the methods and the tracking and everything. So it's good to do that. But let's get back focused on the actual work and the criteria. So Mamoon, you're gonna check in, and then we'll go into
Yeah.
the work.
Okay. Can someone write for me? I put the right name there. I'm at 3.5. Actually, pretty late. I've been here for 40 or 45 minutes, but didn't get a chance to check in because of the conversation went on. And I've been scheduling, but not getting any agreed session this week. So hopefully I can get some schedule from my team. Also, I'll be working on my stage 5 and 6 with the new recruits who want support. I'm pretty sure that I can support them with their 5 and 6, stage 5 and 6. Um, I saw pandemic session was not happened. Hopefully we can push a little bit from here to the next session. And also I saw there was some instruction about session support and scheduling from Jay. So I will try to um, follow those rules and regulation and check.
Cool. Thank you, Mamoon. the first thing I just want to comment really quick is that I've said this like 10 times at least. During the pandemic, I am just like, I've not been able to get my life back together. The United States is just, and the whole world really has been a difficult place. And so for me, scheduling is very difficult to say the least. But bottom line, I work nonstop all day, every day. And it's just a matter of, checking in and jumping on the hangout and getting focused and getting the work going. Yeah. And so I've said this again, this is like the 10th time I've said this. Just add whatever schedule you propose, as long as it's reasonable based on the scheduling you've done in the past. Just add it to the scheduled work, and then check in at that time. Give a reminder, and then we can see if it can work to jump out on up on a hangout, right? But it's like, for me, it's just that it's been day to day, and it's just so overwhelming because it's been so long that I've been trying to get everything organized, and it's just not happening, and we're getting closer, but it's still a disaster, and like, even in the last 2 weeks, it's gotten worse instead of better, so, through all the recruitment, I got very little support on the actual processing of the recruitment, and did most of that all myself, which then took away all my time for all of the other work. And then on top of that, now that we have all the new recruits, especially with the Ativity team and Canopy, like, I'm doing most of the actual direct training, and we're trying not to do a lot of effort on stage 5, but with Hanel and other things, it's just been chaos because people are all over the place doing all these things, and and I'm still not getting the work support that I need. Right? It's like
Yes.
how many VA sessions were proposed for today?
For today, none.
Yeah, none. I think Teme Tope proposed one last night, and then Zilu and Albina went off and did their Andromeda session, and then Albina said something about the very end of Andromeda she did some work, wanted to do some work, but I didn't even see that because by then I was already busy doing other things. So she should have checked in for Cobalt, right? Because my assumption was that for Andromeda it wasn't going to happen, right? So anyway, so now we're doing this, but the point is that should never happen. Like, there should be scheduled sessions. There should be, other organized sessions. We've done 3 VA sessions in the last week, which is 3 times more than been in the last month or two. So we're making progress, but it's still not anywhere close to what we need to be functional. So for me, the next part of what I'm going to go through, and we might as well just make a separate little topic here, since this other topic was really mostly on the waiting around issue. So let's just call the waiting around issue the waiting around issue to organize the notes. And then let's go on the work scheduling as a separate topic. All right. Sound good?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's 2. Is there anything else on the waiting around issue that we need to address? Or are we good on that?
We are good on it today.
All right, so criteria for Canopy we're going to do first, and then we're going to do criteria for Ativity Deputy Team. Right, so the reason why we're going to go over Canopy first, even though it's the Ativity Team session, is because they're similar, they're related, and I think it's generally helpful to have both.
Yes, it's
clear.
I agree.
All right, so here's the Canopy criteria. Oh god, it's not organized. I wish we had it organized, but whatever. All right, Canopy criteria. But boom, break it out here. All right, so let's go through it. So once per octant, which is once every 3 hours, we're supposed to check in for Canopy work. Remember, In addition to this, there's also the normal, regularly scheduled check-ins for Jello Team, which also aren't happening, right? Like how many times? This is like the 50th time I've said this, and you guys just don't even do it, right? Can we acknowledge that you guys don't even care about or do your regularly scheduled Jello Team check-ins? Hello, Temetope, Mamoon.
I don't say we don't do it.
Yeah, you just ignore
Okay,
it.
we don't do it.
Of course you don't do it. Yeah, so thank you for acknowledging that. You guys just completely ignore it and skip it as if it just doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter that we're paying you to do that work. You just ignore it and skip it, right? So that's an even simpler regularly scheduled check-in. Um, Also, once you guys work up to level 4, that's where we do our regularly scheduled buddy teams, right? But you have to actually put an effort to get to level 4, which you guys aren't doing either. And we don't really want anyone at level 4 who doesn't care and doesn't actually put an effort to want to be at level 4, right? So that's fine if you guys don't want to do it. We wouldn't want you to do it anyways, right? So anyways, as far as like doing the work, just do the regularly scheduled check-ins. Like, why wouldn't we be doing them? In every single 8 times a day, we all get team strikes. The entire team gets a strike every single octant we don't check in for work. All right, but we're doing it. We're doing at least. I think we're doing at least like 3 to 4 per day. So we're getting better. All right. So canopy work check-in criteria. Proposed canopy and or executive VA work during doing reminders for work before the scheduled check-ins. Right. So example. Proposal for executive VA work session at top of hour. Any questions on first part?
Any questions on what?
The job. This is the canopy work scheduling check-in criteria.
None from my side actually.
All right. Next one is to ask to check the servers are running. The servers are working. That one's just for canopy. State how many strikes that you have. Right. So you need to be calculating and tracking your strikes. And your strikes are the same for everything. I mean, strikes are strikes, so it's just track all your strikes and keep track of them. And then you, like, there's no difference between canopy strikes and activity team strikes and any other type of strikes. Strike's a strike. Although we do have red strikes and yellow strikes and, dark red strikes, whatever. Like, so if you actually, orange strikes, right? So if you get a colored strike, that's a bad strike. So there's normal strikes, there's yellow strikes, there are orange strikes, and there's red strikes. So if there's something particularly bad, we will let you know because we'll color it. Any questions on the strikes? And we'll cover more of that later if we have time. How are you feeling from 0 to 9? Any questions on how you're feeling? That one should be pretty easy. Also, we want to add in, ask the executive worker how they're feeling as well. Like, that's also helpful for everyone to be on the same page with how they're doing. What is in the way of work on canopy? So this is specifically for canopy, and that has to do with executive team work. For primary workers, you check in within 45 minutes and you back up within 1.5 hours, or you get a strike. And then the last one is what you would work on if needed for the VA session. You don't have to do this all in one single message. You could break it up into separate messages and have more of a conversation, but it's also fine to just put it all in one and just do your best. And do like a template. But overall, these are the canopy work scheduling check-in criteria. Is there any questions on all of this? And also, I want to make sure it's clear that if you do not propose the actual work, none of the rest of this matters. It's all pointless, except for maybe
Jay,
the servers. Yeah.
can we include on the proposal Example, proposal for executive BA work session at top of the hours. So my question is, can we include the specific responsibilities or topics that we want to do that budgeting session?
Yeah, well, that is the focus is the executive VA work, right? So this would be a general. This is general executive VA work session, right? You could
Yeah.
do another example would be proposal for canopy VA work session, right?
Yes.
Another example would be proposal for executive planning VA work session. Okay, but I think people get confused about priorities. So within executive planning, there could be a dozen different priorities, and then what is the top priority to focus on? Within Canopy, there can be a dozen priorities. Within General Executive VA work, there could be a dozen priorities. So you don't need to list all of the priorities in the proposed session. It's like this is an activity team main session. That's the focus of the session is the activity team. Right? We don't need to say all of our topics in order to schedule the session. We just schedule the activity team main session and we will address all of the priorities within the session. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Right? So the only question that needs to be addressed is what is the focus of the VA session? What are you actually what's being done? During a normal buddy team session, you typically need a responsibility. If you're focusing on doing a specific responsibility, in this case, the executive level is a little different than a normal VA session, which is almost exclusively a normal buddy team session, which is almost exclusively focused on the on the actual responsibility. Why is that the case? Right. So we're gonna go back. So normal buddy team session specific responsibility, whereas executive VA session, more general level. Why would that be the case? Can you guys think of why that would be the case? So when you do a work buddy team session, what are you responsible for? Like when you schedule and you go to a buddy team session, what are you doing during that buddy team session?
Yeah, we will. We should have a clear and specific responsibility to work
Why?
on.
But why? What are you doing during that session? Like Mamoon, you go to a buddy team session. What do you do during that session?
I will do work with my buddy team or
On
whoever
on what?
on the specific responsibility.
Whose responsibility?
The organization's
Uh,
responsibility. Okay.
that should the
When you go,
responsibility
will be
criteria for canopy. Okay.
no. When you go to a normal buddy team work session, whose responsibilities are you working on?
Each other's
Mm.
responsibility as related to the organization.
Well, you could say each other's, but that's the same thing as saying your own.
Exactly. Yeah.
You go to a buddy team work session to work on your responsibilities, right? Well, why would you go to a buddy team work session to not work on your responsibilities? There's no reason to do that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
On
you go to buddy team work session to work on your specific responsibilities, right? Not anyone else's. Your if you don't have a responsibility, you shouldn't be going to a buddy team work session because then you wouldn't be doing anything. Which is why we require stating the responsibility in advance before you get into the buddy team session, because it is a we're on full freeze, right? We're on hard stop and full freeze, right? And just to remind everybody, this is the worst time to get involved in recruitment, when we're on full freeze and we're on hard stop on everything. I mean, it's a disaster. It's like you're not allowed to, like, during a normal times when all the work's getting done and we're not on full freeze, we're not on hard stop, anyone can basically do whatever they want to, right? It's very, very open, and we have all our regularly scheduled buddy teams and everything's just sort of flexible. right? But right now, when the work's not getting done, and we're like, dealing with all these, huge problems with the government because we're not doing all this. We have huge problems with our finances. We've got huge problems with our everything's just not getting completed. So it's major problems. So we don't have time for people just to be sitting around doing whatever they want to, right? You got to get focused. So for a normal VA session, also pretty specific related work, but you're still not responsible. But so specific work for supporting, admin level work.
It's 15 minutes now.
Okay. So then for the executive VA session, who is responsible for the work?
The executive.
Yes, the same thing as the normal VA session. So 100% of the responsibility is on the executive, not the worker, right? So therefore, do you need to know what the responsibility is in order to schedule the VA session?
No.
No, because you're not responsible for doing the work during the VA session. It's not your work. You get it?
Yes, I got it.
All right, cool. All right, so going back to the Canopy work scheduling check-in criteria, any other questions for that?
No question from my side.
All right, coolio. So let's go on to the activity criteria for the check-in. So the first thing is that, just to remind us, this is once per octant, whereas this is every 15 to 20 minutes. So it's 3 times an hour. So you need to propose an executive VA work session. And
The deputy document is an executive VA work.
What?
The deputy position document.
The deputy position document is a document. Well, I don't understand your question. What are you asking? What's the question?
If it is, because it's not, it's like, it's not established as a position yet. I'm asking if doing it is an BA executive BA work, because it's a high level.
I just don't understand what the question is. Like, you're asking me about what is the responsibility? Are you asking about a responsibility of doing the updating the document? I just don't get it what you're asking.
Exactly, updating the document of the deputy position. If it will be a BA work session, or executive BA work session.
No, whose responsibility is it?
Well, as I know, I will be responsible for doing it, or Abdul.
Abdul. So yeah, it's not no. The answer is no. It's not. It has nothing to do. Like, we can go over it now, but no, that's not a VA responsibility. That's just a team. That's just a team responsibility for the activity team.
Okay.
So if the position comes up in a VA session and we need to update something, that it would be a task, and then the updating itself would be self-driven work or work done during the buddy team session, or needs to be updated during, like, I think the next thing we're going to go through is the deputy position role and responsibilities, and then that could be where we might update the doc while we go through it, right? That makes sense? But it doesn't have
Yes,
anything to
yes,
do with the
that makes
VA
sense.
session. Like a VA session is working on, like a general VA session is working on whatever needs to get done in the moment, right? And a general executive, executive planning is focusing on planning and all of the status updates across the network, right? So that's some
Okay.
example. Okay, so and then there's many types of executive VA sessions. There's just you can look in the scheduling,
Discord.
no, the scheduling spreadsheet. The scheduling spreadsheet has a list of all the priority sessions that need to be scheduled.
Okay.
All right, so is there any questions about the actual proposal of the VA session? Because this is the most important part. If you don't do this, strike, or at least a half strike or whatever. I mean, without the proposal for the VA work, there's no point to even communicating. It's just like I don't have time for it, right? It's not helping me at all. Right? Does that make sense? Like without this, the rest of the check-in criteria is pointless. So, are there any questions about the actual proposal for work? All right. So the next one is how many strikes you have, how you're feeling. And you can also ask how the executor is feeling, how the executive is feeling as well, because it's good for us all to be on the same page on how we're doing. That's
Okay.
and then what you would work on. Okay, and then if we want to, we can set a strike time, but basically you should do it within every 15 to 20 minutes, or you get a strike. Like, so I don't think there really needs to be a set time. Unlike with this one, we do the 45 minutes or whatever. But I think this is it for criteria for activity deputy position.
Okay.
So do you want to give an example to try it out? Because I mean, you're obviously it's not happening. Like I don't think we've had a single successful deputy. Uh, it's been 2 weeks and Abdul's done horrible. Hanel has done horrible. Like there hasn't been any proposed
Yes, that's
successful
true.
VA
I've been
sessions.
trying to propose everything, but it's not related to BA session. So if Abdul can help me, I will appreciate it.
Why just Abdul? Why can't we all help you right now?
Oh well, everyone.
Can you give an example of what you would propose? You can even go on Discord right now and just attempt to do it.
Okay, getting set up and organized and your priorities and responsibilities. That's
No,
one.
no, that has nothing. You don't need. That's just details. Those are just detail priorities. That has nothing to do with what's required. That's extra. You can talk about that. It's fine. Oh, once we get the VA session set up, then yeah, we could focus on this priority and that priority and all these priorities within the VA session. That's extra. That's fine, but it's not required. It's not part of the criteria.
Okay. Uh, what else?
Can anyone try to help her?
Ah,
Because
when
I've been
I
trying to help
when
her
I
for weeks
when
now.
I try to ask the um, for the status update, that's not a VA session either. When I asked for the reports for the steering team, that wasn't um, a VA session either. So
Well, that's a good thing to bring up, though, because that could go on our next steps, because we're supposed to be doing a status update, which of course we're not. So we can add that to our next steps, and then next week that is your job as a deputy to bring it up. And this is for you too, Abdul. So status update. We were supposed to do a status update today, but no one prioritized it because you guys didn't review the next steps from the previous week. Okay, so that's part of the staffing. So next week, when you prioritize the topics, someone should double check the next steps from today and see that we need to do our status update for the activity team to where does the status update report go?
That would be, yes. That would be a VA session.
No, it's a topic for the main session. We need to do our status update
Topic for
report.
the main session. Okay.
Or it could be a regular buddy team session, but it's not a VA session. During a VA session, we would be, if anything, we would be verifying that everyone else is doing their statuses, but that's only if it's a priority. That'll be one of dozens and dozens of priorities during a VA session. So can anyone try to help Hanel? Because I've been trying to help her for weeks and I'm completely unsuccessful with it. I've tried like what, 25 times to try to explain this.
Would you like to ask your question again, Hanel?
The question is how do you give an example for how to propose a VA executive work session or a VA work session. It doesn't have to be executive, but just it needs to be VA. It needs to be VA work.
Okay. Hanel,
yes.
First thing you have to do.
Yes.
You have to know the time J is available, the octant, and octant and time, and then you just propose as usual. Did you propose with for buddy team before buddy team session?
Yes.
Okay. You have to propose as it is with J on a specific responsibility for BA session, because you don't have to know the responsibility. The executive, J will drive you through the VA session. You just need to help him, and when
exactly.
when he will agree, then you can set a session, and then the session on check.
Yeah, are you there?
Yeah, so do you want to try to do an example or no?
Yeah, I can show example if okay, Hanal, hold on, just hold on.
Thank you.
Or maybe Abdul could try an example since he needs to do it tomorrow.
And okay, here I'm pasting an example.
Okay, guys, so I just want to make sure it's really clear that this is pathetic. It shouldn't take 10 minutes to get a simple example. It's so sad. I just have to be honest because it's just so ridiculous. How many examples did I already give? 3, 4, 5, maybe 6? And you guys can't give a single example of proposing for the proposal for the works proposal criteria? I just don't get it.
Hanel.
Yes.
I think we have it up, which is a proposal for general executive VA session, proposal for executive planning. So the proposal should be For I think we from our last session we had some priorities under these general headings that are stated, examples that are stated here, which is proposal for general executive VA sessions, proposal for executive planning sessions. Under these are general headings, but beneath these general headings there are priorities underneath. So when you propose for general executive sessions, there are specific priorities underneath those that underneath a general executive VA session. So if you're proposing for a general executive VA sessions, then the priorities there, the executive will be able to know what priorities you guys are going to deal on or you are going to work on. But if you're proposing, so an example could be a GLN, which is J Life Support. Those are priorities that could be under a general executive VA session work.
No,
But when we're
actually,
looking at
that's
proposing
incorrect.
for
That's
executive
incorrect.
planning,
That's incorrect. JLN is a perfectly a separate proposal for a
okay,
VA session. So you can propose for a JLN support
GLN
session.
support.
So JLN support session is a type of VA session. That would be an example of a VA session. Okay, and you can see the list of all the VA sessions. Can someone just link the scheduling spreadsheet, and then we can see the list of all the VA sessions because they're all there, all of them, and it prioritizes them for you, even, right? How wonderful! So if someone could please link that. So again, I feel like most of the time you guys overcomplicate things, like 10, 20 times more complicated than they are. Like I've spent so many hours and hours and hours. Like how many hours? Like 5 hours trying to simplify this as much as possible, if not 20 hours. I don't even know at this point. Like it should be so simple, but it's like I think you guys just try to complicate everything, thinking like you think it's like this hard thing, and then I'm asking you to do something like that's really difficult. It's not difficult. It's super duper simple. It should take literally 10 to 15 seconds, if not less, because it's that simple. Do you guys? Can someone is someone linking the scheduling spreadsheet or not?
I can't. I can do it. Sorry.
Okay, so Hanel's linking the scheduling spreadsheet.
My computer is froze, so that's why I'm not doing it.
Okay, so can somebody else do it, or is no one gonna do it, and then I'll do it?
Let me link the scheduling spreadsheet.
Okay. So do you guys want
it's
me
half
to
an hour
give you?
Now.
Yeah, we're at the top of the hour. No, but do you guys want to give me? Do you want me to give you more examples?
Yes, I'm waiting for them.
I already gave you 6. What do you mean you're waiting for them? What does that even mean? I don't get it.
Yeah.
What are you trying to say? Like I don't understand. Are you implying that I never gave any examples, or what does that mean that you're waiting for me to give examples? Can you answer me or not?
Oh, sorry. No, I'm sorry. You just I thought that you gave examples for Canopy.
This is the New World schedule. I'm asking for the New World scheduling spreadsheet with the ing. Not it. It's not it. We need the New World scheduling spreadsheet, ing. You understand? Hello?
Hello.
New World scheduling spreadsheet, please. Not the schedule. Is that Abdul's back? No. Abdul, are you here? No. Is Abdul here or not?
Yes, sir.
Oh, you are here.
Yes,
okay.
sir.
Can you give an example, please, or not?
Not. You can do, I think.
I already gave 6 examples. 7, really.
Okay. So I can try.
Okay, try. All right, so this is the scheduling spreadsheet. Perfect. And then you just click on the priority sessions tab, and that'll give you all of the priority work sessions that need to be scheduled. All right, so there's a list of VA sessions work.
Can see it.
And that's probably like, I don't know, the 20 or 30th time that I've mentioned that list. So, anyways, can someone please give an example? Or do you want me to read the 8 examples I've already given, or what?
Oh, yeah, but I ask you about Pinda. I ask you, but you asked, but we couldn't make it because you said that I haven't finished stage 5 onboarding and stage 6 hyper training.
So, what's
That
your
and
point? What is your
that
point? What are you trying to say?
that that it wasn't possible to do the VA session.
So, what's your point?
That I already, I mean, I asked you for it to
So,
to
like, just
for
because you ask for
for a
something
VA
doesn't mean
session.
I have to agree to it. Like, I don't understand what you're trying to say. Like, if I say no, that is not a priority, what, like, move on next? Like, do something else? Like, I don't understand what you're trying to say. Like, you're implying that just because you ask for something that I have to agree to it. You're just making a proposal. If I say
No, no,
no,
no, no. I'm not. No,
what,
please.
I don't understand. What are you asking then?
That I schedule a VA session.
No, you didn't schedule anything unless there's agreement. Was there agreement?
Exactly. No, it wasn't an
Okay, so
agreement.
you did
I
not schedule.
proposed. I
You
Yeah,
proposed.
proposed.
good.
I'm sorry.
Proposed.
Exactly.
Thank you, Tamito. Thank you. I proposed a VA session with some of these themes, and you told me that that was a high level executive topics that if and then you asked me if I have finished stage 5 onboarding and stage 6, which I haven't finished yet. Stage 5.
And why are you telling me this? Like, I don't hear a question. I don't understand what your point is. Like, if you can ask a specific question or you can actually have a point, like, I just don't understand. Does anyone
Okay,
else understand?
the
Like, I
thing
don't get
is
it.
that I already that was actually, it's a confirmation for me that I was doing a VA session right.
If you could do the VA session right, you would just propose right now and show us by an example. We've been sitting here for what, a half an hour and nobody can give an example, or 20 minutes now? I just don't understand. I gave
Oh,
6 examples and no one else
the
can even give an
problem
example.
was that you didn't want to do the session because I haven't finished a stage 5 and a stage 6
So, what's your point? Like,
that I did
why does it matter?
that I propose a VA session. That's my point.
Okay, great. You proposed the
Okay.
VA session. So, what? Like, that's your job. Your job is to propose VA sessions. So that's good that you
Yes,
would
but
propose a
we
VA session.
couldn't make it because I haven't finished a stage 5 and a stage 6. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
so what? Why does that matter? What, like, then propose something else. If I'm like, no, you haven't. That's not work that you can, that we need to prioritize right now. Let's focus on something else. Like, it does. I don't understand what you're trying to say. Like, if you propose something that's not applicable, I'm going to say no every single time, and to encourage you to propose something that is applicable. Right?
Okay.
Why would I agree to something that I don't want to agree
No,
to?
I
That's
don't
not a
want you to
priority.
agree. You just make uh um how can I say a condition. You make a condition. If you haven't finished stage 5, stage 6,
Yeah, exactly.
we can do a you can do a VA session.
You can do VA work, yeah.
Exactly. That was
And
the condition.
When is this
you
condition?
are
What are you
welcome
talking
to
about?
finish.
What are you guys even talking about?
I
What?
will look at
You guys are just making things up. You're literally hired into the deputy position. It's the number 2 position. The purpose of that position is doing VA work. You did the hyper training for stage 6 because you have to learn about VA work, and you're sitting here telling me that, oh, I can't schedule VA work because it's against the blah blah blah. That's just nonsense. Like, just listen to me. I'm telling you, your job is to schedule VA work. Don't tell me that your job is not to schedule VA work unless you want me to get upset.
Okay.
It's ridiculous. Anyways, let's go to Abdul. Abdul made a proposal. Finally, yay, someone made a proposal. Abdul proposed
Yes,
proposal for taxes work session at the top of the hour. Ding, 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 ding. Perfect. All right, so what if I said, no, I'm not available top of the hour? How about like the next hour after that? Then what would you do? What would you do if I said that, Abdul? What would you do?
yes, I can hear you.
You can't hear me?
Yes, Jay, I hear you.
What if I answered no, maybe in 1.5 hours or the next hour? What would you do?
I will again check in after 1.5 hours.
That doesn't. I didn't understand. That does not make any sense. You want to write it down or do you want to say it again?
Okay, okay. So after 1.5 hours later, I will make another proposals, right? Okay. So,
Or maybe you could use like Cobalt, right? What if this was Cobalt hour 1? Maybe instead you would say Cobalt hour or something else, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
or asking asking that when it will be available.
Probably is true.
No, what you just said, Mamoon, is wrong. Is exactly the opposite of what you're supposed to do. We're supposed to focus on getting work done, not availability.
Jay, you mentioned on
Yeah,
Cobalt
so that
3
would be
hour
good.
3.
So proposal for taxes session Cobalt hour 3. Perfect. Okay. So then what if
Okay.
I said no, taxes is not the priority? Then what would you do?
Then I can ask which priority, like what we have.
Or I probably would actually say tax is not the priority because, Zilu and Albina are supposed to be working on that, right?
Yes.
So this is wrong. That is not what you're supposed to do.
Okay, so then I need to know which is our top priority is on
It's
which.
listed right there in the table on the spreadsheet, in the scheduling spreadsheet. It has them listed
Okay.
exactly in order of the top priorities.
Okay, so then planning, I think planning. JLM support, I think proposal for function. Okay. Is it right, Jay?
All right, boom. Okay, so there we go. That's it. How long did that take us? Like 2 minutes. So it took
Yeah.
Abdul 2 minutes not only to give us example proposal, that took about 20 seconds, but then he actually gave 3 proposals. So it took 2 minutes to do 3 proposals and get agreement. So thank you, Abdul. You did amazing. That was perfect. So if you could just do that every 15 to 20 minutes, that's the job. That's it. There's nothing else to it. And then we jump on the Hangout and then we do the VA work. So there's a couple other things in the criteria that you missed. There's also stating how many strikes you have, how you're feeling from 0 to 9, and then how I'm feeling. And then also you'd want to state what work that you have to do during the VA session. That's another very, very important thing that seems to be a problem. So let's give it a try, Abdul. What work would you have to do? So we now have a session in 2 hours. What work would you have prepared to do during the session based on the required executive VA policies and the VA policies?
It's 10:15.
50 minutes. Mm.
Abdul, are you still there? We lost you. I guess we lost him. All right. So, Hanel, do you want to try, or are you still lost yourself, or what?
No, no, I'm not lost. Now I have topics to work on.
That doesn't make any
I
sense.
was
It's
all
not even clear.
confused. I was all confused about what would be best to talk about in a VA
But
session
that's
according to
exactly
my
the opposite.
responsibilities.
That's exactly the opposite of what his VA session is. Right? Because who's responsible for the VA
No,
session?
no, I'm not answering what a VA session is. Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
I didn't ask a question.
Ah,
I was just I guess my question was whether or not this it works. Like, do you have an example? I mean, are you ready?
to have an example of the or
To
a
meet the
proposal for a
yes.
VA session?
Yes,
Ah,
criteria
yes.
for the VA session.
Let's do a proposal in bills. Session Cobalt Sonic H1.
Okay, that didn't make sense because you named multiple octants. You said Cobalt Sonic.
Oh, sorry.
Do you want me to write it down what you said or what I
Sonic
heard?
H1. Sonic
Okay,
H1.
so I can write it down for you. Say it slowly.
For a VA
Proposal
session.
for VA session.
I can write it.
Yeah, it doesn't look like I'm gonna be able to write.
To schedule a VA session for bills.
I don't know. I'm not able to see anything that's going on here. Did you write it or not? I think I lost you.
VA session. Yes, the problem is that it's a little bit slow.
All right, I can hear you again. That's good.
Oh, I'm going to put it for recruitment. I think for recruitment. Cobalt H3 or not Sonic. H1. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. So, proposal.
Hello?
Oh, sorry. I was on mute. Okay. So, proposal for VA session for recruitment Sonic Hour 1. I think that's a correct proposal. Let me just double check. Yeah, so I mean, technically it would be like recruitment setup or something like that. I mean, But yes, recruitment.
I can help you with that.
Yeah,
I think you need help there.
sure, but I would still most likely say no. Not the top priority right now. So I'd probably say something like that. Um,
Okay.
but it's
So
there could be a
let's
time where we need to focus on
do.
on recruitment. I might say something like you know probably, but let's keep it to 20 minutes or something like that. So those are the two options that I would probably give. So in terms of the top priority not being the top priority right now, what would you do if I said that?
Okay, let's do. Um, uh, 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 Other ACG.
So you're going the wrong direction.
Okay, let's see.
Like if that's not a
Basic
top
needs
priority,
awareness on planning. On planning.
yeah. So other AGC or A yeah, AGC is at the very bottom of the priority list.
Okay, okay.
Right? So it's like even a lesser
Planning.
priority than recruitment.
Okay. So proposal.
Yeah, so I mean I think that looks good. So maybe like yes, 7. Or maybe I'd be like, yes, 6.9. I don't know. So that would be like one session. So that looks good. So I mean, I feel like we made a little progress there. I mean, I'm still a little confused on why it's so difficult, but we're making progress.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So obviously, the easy way to do this is that I take all responsibility for scheduling and I just tell you when to schedule and when to do everything and I take responsibility for all of it. That's obviously a lot easier for you and everybody for me just to do it all myself, right? The problem with that is that it just one doesn't work for me because I'm so busy and I get distracted and I'm just not really focused on all the scheduling and dealing with everyone else. So it's just not the best model and solution for me. So it is a little bit more cumbersome to do this, but this will work. And that's why we want to do it. Even though it's a little extra effort, it will actually work. And it
Perfect.
makes sure that whoever the executive is going to be checked in on and forced and pushed to do the work. So it creates an
Yes.
accountability structure. And it makes sure that we're constantly evaluating and looking at all the priorities and working as a team. All right, so I think that's done with this. I don't know if we wanted to stop. There's so many more priorities. Like we need to go through the deputy position role and responsibilities. You had all these other questions that you wanted to answer. There's the budget, which is super important. The scheduling and proposal and changing the schedule proposal, policy tracking and strikes, labels and levels and badges. So I mean, I think that's just basically our agenda for next week.
Yes, that would be good.
So do you want to just go ahead and check out?
Yes, we can check. Well, I don't know what everybody else think, but yes, I'm ready to check out if they want.
Well, everyone else
I
disappeared.
think I I think everyone else is gone
Yeah, I
actually.
think I think everyone else is gone.
Okay, so we can do it next week.
Okay, so Tommy Tope says, "Hey team, my main network just went down. I'm afraid I might not be able to continue. TV session is very engaging." Tommy Tope. Okay, thanks. All right. So there's definitely lots more to do, but I feel like we've gone long enough. You know, we can only do so much, and we've covered the most important priorities. So should we check out?
Yes, I'm super happy.
Nice. Do you want to go first, or should I go first?
And well, eight. Where is it? I can find it.
I'm right at the
I'm
very
eight.
bottom.
And I, even though Albina told me something like it, I didn't understand what a VA session is stand for. So I feel really good that today we could clarify that, and yeah, I will be working on that.
On what? What are you going to be working on again?
On VA sessions.
Cool. So, as far as I'm concerned, basically, you should not be doing anything until Tuesday when you would schedule again.
Yeah. So, do you want me to work? I don't know, tomorrow.
I feel like the schedule I was working out, you could be backup. So if you want to be backup for Abdul, you can, right? So if Abdul doesn't show up tomorrow and you want to work tomorrow, you can. That make sense?
You know, I will be. Yes, please let me know. I will be on my phone checking in every half an hour or something.
Why? What do you mean checking in?
If Abdul doesn't come,
Yes,
I
yes.
mean
So if
checking the
Abdul doesn't
phone to
come,
see if I have a message.
exactly. Well, no, but just check on Discord really quick and just be like, "Hey, is Abdul there?"
Exactly.
And if he's not there, then just
Oh, okay.
say that, check in and be like, "Hey, Abdul doesn't seem to be communicating. Should I jump in?" And then be like, "Sure, jump in." So,
Okay.
so yeah, that would be for tomorrow. And I put together a whole schedule. Like, I mean, there's so much stuff I got prepared for this meeting for that we just didn't get to because there was just so many details with the first priorities. But trust me, it was much better to deep dive into those details and get them clear than try to go through 100 topics really quickly. It doesn't help. So usually, if you get one thing
Okay.
right, then
Thank you, Jay.
it's like a cornerstone, and then that fits, and then all the other things fit into it. As opposed to just trying to go too quick through everything, and then it all doesn't work out and falls apart. So yeah, so we'll go
Yeah, thank
another
you very
week.
much.
So, but what I want to set up for the whole activity team, actually, screw it. I want to show this to you because I'm so excited that I created. Let me see if you can if you can see my screen. Okay, so I'm sharing my
Okay.
screen now. Can you see my screen?
Oh, I can see it. Are you
Okay.
on Discord?
No.
Just a sec. No, I can see your screen.
You
Let
can't
me
see my
see.
screen?
Let me see if I. No. No, sir. Yeah, now I can see it.
You can see it?
Yes.
All right. So I'm still not done with this, but I did get it started and it will help us a lot. Oh no, but it's not here. Let me try searching. executive team schedule. All right, so it's basically I'm utilizing the model that we did for
Yes.
Canopy because Canopy is very organized. Because I put in hundreds and hundreds of hours in Canopy getting it all organized. So I want to do this
Okay.
the same sort of model for the Ativity team, except instead of being 24 hours a
Okay.
day, it's only basically New World from Andromeda, Cobalt, and Sonic, right? Right. So basically, we
Okay.
have our main session Friday Saturdays, and I think we might move it up an hour. Uh, but right now it's here. So basically, the first half of Friday would be Hanel, would be you, and then Abdul would automatically be backup. Then we do our main session with all of
Okay.
us, and then Abdul would be primary afterwards. If we go 8 hours, like obviously Abdul's not working, at that point. And then Abdul is primary, but then if you want to, you can be backup, right? So for tomorrow, we
Okay.
can make you backup. And remember, it is an hour later, right? So then there's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. So it's just up to you if you want to be backup for all of Abdul, and then also Abdul can be backup for you. And these are your days. And
Yes.
then from there, there is technically all these other vacant spots that we could play around with. They're not the best times for me, and they create even more work. So it would be much more than the 20 hours to add in the red. You know? But
Okay.
anyways, the yellow is the most important, then the orange, and then the red would be the least important, right? So
Okay.
that's the activity team schedule.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, and then we'll just slowly put this together. We'll put our rankings together. We'll put all of the different models together, and we got our recruitment. So it's just slowly putting it all together and getting it set up properly. But this should help us understand it better, and also make it clear that it's a team effort. It's not an individual
Yes.
effort. So if someone doesn't show up, we should have a backup. We could have someone on call, and we could, it's not just all on one person, that we're all supporting and backing each other up, and making sure that we're following through with the goals. And eventually maybe we'll even be like, you know what? Every 15 to 20 minutes is too much. Maybe it doesn't need to be that often. For now, it needs to be that often. But maybe eventually, once we get more organized and we stabilize and everything's a little mellower, maybe it's not necessary to check in that often, or we could get a regular schedule going or whatever. But for now, let's stick with the 15 to 20 minutes, and really be checking in regularly during the yellow and orange times. All right.
Okay.
But obviously,
Cool.
for the red times, would not be every 15 to 20 minutes. It's just not, there's no need to check in that often.
Okay.
Yeah. Coolio. And even for the orange, we could make the orange like every 30 minutes. Maybe it's only the yellow that's every 15 minutes.
Okay.
You know. So let me note that. So yellow, 15 to 20 minutes. Orange, 30 minutes, and then maybe red is like once per hour, something like that. Cool. All right. So let me
Right.
go ahead and check out here. Where did the notes go? I don't know if you want to take notes for me, but give the session like a,
Yes. 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 Yes.
yeah,
I
it's the
will. I
bottom.
will.
So I would give the session
Sometime.
a
Mm-hmm.
2.5. It was extremely long. We didn't do the best with the timing. I don't think we took enough breaks. We didn't do any stretches. We didn't do any breaths. Um, we got very off topic and very tangent. We didn't complete or achieve the goals we wanted out of the meeting. Um, but we did get some clarity on things, and ideally, we achieved the goal of getting the check ins moving forward, which is the number one purpose of the activity team position. So if that happened, that would be good. But other than that, like, this is a pretty brutal session. Yeah.
Yes. My computer is very slow right now. I
Oh
think
my
it's
god.
because I have the recording. So that's why
Yeah, that's what I'm
you
talking
can
about. The
do the
recordings are so hard,
stretching.
and then it just it fills
Yes.
up your whole computer, and it's the disaster. So we need to do the documentations for that. I don't know if you can see on my computer, but in this window alone, I have like 30 or 40 tabs open.
Yes, I can see it. I can see it at the top of the screen.
Yeah, it's out
You
of
have
control.
like blue, 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 blue,
Yeah.
blue.
So my computer is the opposite of happy right now. All right. So I think that's it. I think we're done. Any?
Thank you, Jay, for everything.
Yeah,
Have a
for
good
sure.
weekend.
Oh, actually, let me just.
Don't work too much.
Oh my God, that's too late for that, right? But anyways, let me just make sure it's clear how our budget system works. Cause I think your requested budget is
I have a mistake there
what?
because I think the ideal, I thought that ideal it was like your dream. And yeah, I would like to earn more in any company. So that's why I put $12 per hour for 30 hours. But now I realize that I can put $7 in each level. You know, the $7 the ideal, $7 the middle. So I think I don't know who to clarify that. Who
Well, you can
who can I
change your
talk to?
budget. You can change your budget at any time. The deadline's the full moon, and then it takes effect 6 weeks after the full moon. But you can choose whatever amount you want, and $12 an hour is fine. Your ideal is supposed to be your ideal, so I don't have any problem with it.
It's my yes, it's my ideal. So
Yeah,
okay, so I leave it like that.
yeah, it's fine. I'm not worried about it. In terms of your requested, this is what we would be proposing and improving in the budget. Does that make sense?
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Cool. So, um, what that means is that if you keep working as you have been working, you're most likely going to go over the 20 hours a week and go into more hours because you've been working more than 20 hours a week. Right? So that would go into your back pay benefits, and then that would increase your benefit packages and your paid leave and your taxes, costs, your bonuses, all of the other things come out of your back pay benefits, right? Plus you can always propose to get additional pay from your back pay. So I just want to make sure that you understand that that's the direction we're going in proposing it. Also, in relationship to Workana, there's a way to do a direct pay on Workana. So, you can track hours on Workana, but it's not really the important place to track the hours is your work report, right? Like tracking minute by
Yes.
minute on Workana is not required or necessary, right? And also when you track Workana hours, it automatically pays you weekly. So there's nothing we
So
can do. So as long as you're tracking Workana hours, you're automatically going to be paid weekly because we can't, like, that's their automated system, right? There's no way to change that.
yes.
So if we set
Okay.
it, for example, to do 5 hours a week or 10 hours a week, I don't know if you'll be able to track more than that many hours. I just have no idea. You can try. So right now I set it to 10 hours a week just to make sure we're not getting out of control. But let's say you did 10 hours a week, that would be $70 a week. If you can track more hours than that, just try, see what happens if you want to use Workana for your work tracking, or you can use any other service provider. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to force everybody to get on Workana and do all of our payroll through Workana. Like, I have no time or interest or energy to be able to approve your weekly work schedule. There's just no way that's going to happen, right? Someone else would need to do that
Okay.
and have access to
No,
Workana.
the thing is, I don't know. It's because Workana requires the work report for them, because they charge 20% every time somebody works.
No,
So that's why they tracks the hours work.
I'm almost positive that they're going to take 20% of any money that we give you, plus a 4% fee on
Yes.
top.
Yes.
So
Plus
so we
4%?
can we
Oh
can
my
we
God.
can test the direct pay and see what happens with that, but I'm almost positive they're going to take a massive percentage of the direct pay. Also, I want to make sure it's clear that you can also do um, we can cover all of the fees,
Okay.
right? So we will increase your entire pay by 20% and cover all the fees. Like that's automatic in our policies.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
Thank
up
you.
to you. It's up to you to ask for that and put it on your pop. But that is one of the policies that we have, and then we just add that to the payroll and the pop. So definitely bring that up if you want to. But then from there, it's just a matter of just experimenting and trying it out until we have a model that works with Workana. Like I know how it works with Upwork. I know how it works with Outsource. I know I'm able to do it with so Workana. It's just new, but it's gonna work perfectly fine. I'm not worried about it. But for now, you know, overall, we in our system, you're not required or supposed to or need to track your hours in Workana, and we'll see what they say. But simply put, if we're paying you through Workana specifically with the direct payment, let's
Yeah.
try that. Let's try it out for this next payroll.
All
And
right.
then also, if you need
Uh,
an advance or
I
whatever, you can
agree.
let
No,
us know.
no
But
problem.
yeah, and then we'll give it a try and we'll see what happens. And then we can look at the percentage differences. And then if we want to, just add it to your pop and we can cover any of the additional costs. Typically with Upwork and Workana, because it's so high of a percent that
Sí.
they take, that we usually it's just automatic that we cover it. Okay. So in the
Oh,
context of like, if that means you want to lower your pay rate, you're welcome to that. Also in relationship to tracking all of people's hours, it's the same thing. It's like if people aren't used to tracking all their hours and they're gonna be tracking double the amount of hours they usually can, you can like lower your pay rate based on tracking more hours or having fees paid, etc. So that would increase your rankings. But anyways, that's all up to you. We don't really care about that. The bottom line is that what we do care about is that we honor the agreements. And the policy in the agreements is that when we say we're going to agree to pay you the $560 a month, that agreement for us means that you're getting $560 in the bank after all fees, all taxes, all of the business costs, anything that comes out of your pocket before the money is actually used on your own expenses, we cover all of that
okay.
if you want. And that also includes exchange fees. So let's say it goes from US dollars to um you're in, oh my god, I forgot where you are. You're in, wait, let me think. Panama? Are you in Panama?
Yes, I'm Panama.
You're in Panama. Yeah, so what
Uh,
what is the currency in Panama?
US dollars. Actually, it's Balboa.
Balboa.
But yes, but no, everybody here uses dollars, US dollars.
Okay. All
They
right.
have a 1.08 to 1. It's just 1 something like that.
Interesting. Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
basically, the bottom line is like if you did exchange your money into your local currency, we would even pay the exchange fees if someone did the work to calculate it, right? So
No, it's not necessary. Everybody here
uses
accept
dollars.
dollars,
Cool.
American dollars.
Nice. All right.
Yes.
Well, I'm just letting you know. All right. So I just wanted to make sure we were on the same page for the budget so that you understood and that we were on the same page, and that we'll put that in there, and then that overall you're gonna rank low on the budget scale, but because nobody else wants to do this position, and in America's everything is just expensive anyways, it's just like in the overall global, like I would get fired, you would get fired before we would fire everybody else. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, because we're just in the Americas. Americas is just more expensive. So as far as having a global budget, we're not gonna like for me or you, we would have to fire like 4 or 5 other workers just for one of us, right? So
Wow.
so it's basically like, I mean, obviously, United States is even more expensive. Like, it's even more crazy. But in the context of just Americas in general, it is easily like twice, if not 3 times more expensive, 2 to 3 times more expensive than Asia and Africa and things like that. So, anyways, it's just something to think about. So ideally, the goal is to just do the work, get stabilized, get our budgets organized and focused so that we can budget a separate America's budget from the global budget, so that our budget is protected, and then we have a budget for United States that's separate and protected, so that we can hire everybody and not have to worry about firing people. But anyways, if our budgets did fall apart, by definition, we would always cut people in the Americas before we would cut people on the global budget, which is why you're the first person we've hired in the Americas for a very long time. The last time we hired people from the Americas was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, and we used to have like 5 or 6 people. We had some people from Colombia, Mexico, um, Uruguay, right? So we had a good team there, and then we had people from the United States. We had like 2 or 3 people from the United States as well. So we had about 4 or 5 people, and we just had to let everyone go because our budgets fell apart.
Oh.
So we have probably 4 or 5 months to figure out our budgets and get them stabilized.
Okay.
But if things don't go well, then we might have to go back to where we were before. But hopefully, it all works out. But anyways, it just helps give a time frame and a perspective. Anyways, I'll talk to you soon, and you take care, and we'll go.
You too, Jerry.
Have a good night.
Have a good rest.
Okay, bye.
Bye.